Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's more than a slogan. Whether you're on the track or making your own track, General Tire, anywhere is possible.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We are here for the General Tire 313 here at Big Bad Talladega. My name is Brian Britt, and I'm super excited about tonight's action. This is going to be, I'll tell you, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's going to be some four-wide racing here, high-octane action. Can I say that? I mean, it's going to be some devastation. There's going to be some cars that ain't going to make it. Go ahead and get the haulers primed and ready to go. Big Al, it's time for some action here at this 2.66 mile racetrack.
Oh, indeed it is. It's Talladega week, baby. And you know, it's not a racetrack, Brian. This is Talladega. This race has so many implications because it's got playoff implications, man. There's some guys that just aren't going to make it, and this is one of those racetracks. I'm sorry, guys, I'm so excited. This is one of those racetracks where we just don't know who's going to win this thing, man. I'm going to grab myself a bucket of popcorn. I'm going to post up right at the start-finish line, and I'm going to sit there with Leroy. We're going to watch this thing from lap to lap.
Yeah, we have no idea who's going to win this race. I mean, this is one of those tracks to where you roll the dice, and of course, it's going to be all about fortune. It's also going to be about decision making. I think that's what it's going to be, but you have to survive it. You got to be alive at the end of this thing in order to be able to find yourself in victory lane and moving on to the next round, because that's going to be the big thing. The round of 8 is coming here momentarily. I mean, I do believe next week at the Roval, after that race, we will be deciding who will be moving on to the next round. Right now, we have 12 drivers. 4 of these drivers are going home next week. Tonight could be the difference maker for one of those drivers.
Dang right, Brian, and there's going to be a lot of guys that understand just this one thing. That is, you might just suck at road racing. So Talladega is an awesome opportunity for some of those guys who just aren't going to have a chance next week to actually get a W in tonight. And I'm telling you, I know who my pick is for tonight's win.
I'd be curious to see who's that.
We're qualified. I'm going to pick Greg Wyszynski, man. He needs to win. I know he's got his G&G teammates going to be backing him up. I've been watching Greg. I actually spotted for him on Tuesday, and he's my favorite to win this thing tonight.
I think that's a good call. I like Greg. I think that's a good one for sure. I don't know, man. He's that 12th guy in the playoffs too. Like, I feel like if he wins, this would change a lot for him. It would put him in the round of 8. That would be a big one. I'm gonna go with a guy that's already won at a super speedway early this season at Daytona. Mark Sanchez won the first race, I do believe, of the season. I'm going with Sanchez. Kobe, what do you think? So Kobe's going with Greg Wyszynski as well. So you love to see that. You love to hear that. As qualifying, of course, is underway, let's take a look at that playoff grid. I think we need to take a look at it, and then we'll get into the details of tonight's race, because I think this is what everybody's on everybody's mind right now. This top 12, who's going to make it? Patrick Gitter, of course, sealed the deal last week at Kansas Speedway. What a race from him. He dominated that show last week. Brandon Pasolaco, of course, finished in he's going to be second in the points right now. He's probably going to be moving on. I don't think anything really can change that for him. Matt Nisiani third. Clayton Hoffman's in fourth. I think he's fairly secure. Brian Johnson's fifth. This is when we start to get into those guys that maybe aren't secure a little bit further back. Abner Acosta sixth. He's been having, I guess, not the best races here lately, but he is, I think, getting some more momentum back. Randy Mullins is in seventh. Tim Wortman Jr. is in eighth. Mark Sanchez, that's the driver that I'm kind of picking. He's in ninth right now, above the cut line, or not above the cut line. He is just below it at the moment, 2 points below it to be exact. Alexander Carr, 4 points below the cut line. He's in 10th. And, of course, the 11th place, Josh Schaffner. This guy has had terrible race after terrible race here lately, which has led to the situation that he's in right now. He's below the cut line. Who would think that the Corn Man would be below the cut line right now? But, I think he's going to be another one that's going to be really desperate here tonight. Greg Wyszynski, last in the round of 12. He needs that win here tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah,
let's take a look. Go ahead.
Oh, he's definitely in a must-win situation.
Yeah, and I think Josh is too. I think Josh Schaffner is as well. But let's look at the details. Of course, this is the General Tire 313 here tonight at Talladega. 118 laps here. Long one here tonight. Over 300 miles. And this is going to be interstate driving on steroids. Of course, stages are going to be set to complete. Stage 1 at 25 going to 26. Stage 2, 55 going to 56. And, of course, the race over at 118 going to 119. 4 sets of tires all together. I don't think we're really going to be talking too much about tires here tonight. 3 sets down in the pits. I do think we might see some guys take tires at some points in this race, but I don't think that's going to be the difference maker. I don't think tires are going to make that huge of a difference here tonight. Fuel window, though, 38 laps. This is what's going to make the big difference. When it comes to that final stage, this is going to be the thing we're going to be looking at, is the fuel. When guys have to come down, When do they come down? Do they come down early to save time on pit road? These are going to be the questions we're going to ask in Stage 3. I can't wait to get down to it, though, Big Al. I mean, this is ISCA. Usually we have some really clean racing here in this series. What is the over-under on cautions, Big Al?
I'm about to go ahead and start it off with 4.
4 cautions for Cause. What about Kobe? 6 cautions for Cause. He's going 6. Okay, I'm gonna go 2.
What?
I'm going low.
I want to tell you that's a pretty broad spectrum that we got there. So a little bit of something for everybody.
2, 4, and 6. How about that?
Yeah, 2, 4, and 6. That's heavy.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think these guys are known for being clean racers, and I feel like we'll get some long ring runs.
I would normally agree with you. However, and usually this would probably be like a very boring road trip where the first 490 miles are just kind of bumper to bumper traffic, and then at the end you're just racing for the accident. But it's October and it's playoff time, man, and everybody has a shot at Talladega, so I think it's going to be a little sporty down there tonight.
Well, we'll see. Let's go ahead and take that step away, though. Play our national anthem. We'll be right back here with some racing here at Big Bad Talladega.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
It's more than a slogan. Whether you're on the track or making your own track, General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. It looks like I do believe we have the grid all set for this evening's action here at Talladega. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua, he's going to be qualified on the pole. Was able to hit a 52.979. Actually, that's pretty slow compared to what these guys have been hitting in official. I know we've been seeing 52.6s, 52.5s in officials, which I do believe is indicative probably of the track conditions out here, probably a little bit hotter of a racetrack. Patrick Guido qualifies in second place. Matt DeCiani, of course, qualified in third. Connor Banks going to be starting in the fourth place position. Randy Mullins. Oh, wow. Randy's in the top 5. Sixth place, Mark Sanchez. Paul Hill going to be starting in 7th. Derek Heitman's going to be starting in 8th. 9th place, Greg Wachinski. That's, of course, Big Al and Kobe's pick here for this evening. He starts 9th. Kenny Powell is in 10th. Paul Whitney going to be starting in 11th. Andrew Griesbaum starts in 12th. 13th, Brian Johnson. 14th, Kendall LeVron. And 15th, Greg Carr.
That's going to put Nick King over there beside him in 16th. 17th place shows Alexander Carr. That's going to be the nephew of Greg, I believe. J.C. Evans starts in 18th with Jeffrey Souza. Starting in 20th, Randy Drumhiller starts in 20th. Jeffrey Souza in 19th. 21st is Abner Acosta. 22nd, Matthew Cisna. Next row is going to be Jason Maines. Beside him is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, Clayton Hoffman. 25th position shows Josh Schaffner, another must-win to get in. Beside him is going to be Derek Jacobs. Then you got Paul Osen and Jay Holmes starting there in row 14. And Jose Medina is going to round out this 29-car field.
Yeah, a lot of fast drivers in this series, a lot of fast drivers in this race, and this is the track where we're going to see all that speed laid out on the table. We're going to see desperation, and I think that's why I understand why you guys would kind of go to the higher number of cautions, because this is going to be a desperate race for some of these guys, and we'll see how it all kind of turns out. I mean, these next gens, I'll tell you what, have been awesome to watch. I called the race on Tuesday for the Spartan Series, which is really, really cool. Kenny Powell, J.C. Evans, Greg Wyszynski, some of the guys that race in this series were in that race. And I'll tell you, it was 4 wide action, Big Al. I think you had the pleasure of even spotting Greg, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. That was awesome being able to spot for Mr. Wyszynski.
Hey, definitely. They seemed like they had some speed. I know Greg was up there in contention, up in the top 10, and sometimes I think even was at the top 5. But that race was quite hectic, and it was a hard one to survive. Kenny Powell, of course, got involved in some crashes in that one for sure. So, in a lot of ways, I think this race here tonight is redemption. A chance to possibly get that trophy here. But I think this one means even more, though. I mean, of course, that Spartan Series race was really cool and everything for the G&G group. But this one has more on the line for Greg Wyszynski. This is his championship hopes. I also noticed Andrew Griesbaum back in the field. I don't think we've seen him in quite a few weeks. So glad to see him back out here as well. I do believe we should be moving here very shortly. I think we'll see that pace car starting to pull off. We've been kind of hanging out here for just a little bit.
So just to give the just to give the folks at home an idea of what we're doing here, this is like Black Friday. Everybody comes out. You get race car drivers, you got some wannabe race car drivers, you got some never gonna be race car drivers. It's just Talladega.
Yeah, and but I'll tell you, there's a lot of the guys out here that are, regulars in the ISCA. They might not always be to the front of the field, but a lot of these guys are still clean racers, and I expect that they're going to do well here tonight. I think it'll be some clean racing. We'll say we'll see what happens. I'll tell you one driver I'm looking at, Randy Drumhiller. He's had terrible luck the last couple weeks. I'm hoping Randy can get him a good one here tonight.
Do you think his luck's going to change at Talladega?
I hope so.
This is a heck of a place to come to hope that your luck changes, because usually it's just the opposite.
Yeah, well, I hope it changes for him. But, I mean, I guess if you have enough bad luck and you store it up, or store up the good luck, I hope he spends all his good luck points here at Dega.
Or it just sucks so bad that whatever you do, it looks better.
We'll see. We got to keep in mind these guys do not have a fast repair. Any sorts of damage could possibly end their race. You get some wheel damage, break that toe link, blow that engine. That ends up with 30 minutes or so required. Could be a day ender. This is a long race, 300 some odd miles, 313 to be exact. That's a long race. This is a long race here at Talladega, and these guys are going to be hitting sometimes 200 plus mile an hour, just depending on how good the pusher is.
I see some 3 wide. Heck, you might even see a little 4 wide. Just depends.
I don't think there's a might. About 3 wide. I think we are going to see 3 wide. But there goes the pace car down pit road. as we enter the Geico restart zone here. Actually, we have a long front stretch here. Kind of a little bit of a anxiety-inducing front stretch. A lot of apprehension, a lot of suspension. Green flag is out for the first time here at Talladega. Brandon Passalacqua up through the gears as everyone trying to get up through the gears, trying to get their cars up to speed. Bottom lane looks like they have the most organization right now.
Well, actually, they got a big whip there on the bottom lane. As you can see, that echo crescendo through the top line. But Paul Hill really kind of got out of it for whatever reason, and that caused a huge gap on the bottom. So when that run comes in, Brian, it's going to be a lot of checking up right there as well.
That's true, and I saw a big block there from Brandon Passalacqua. He was trying to block one of Matt DeCiani, as Matt DeCiani has taken control of the race so far. You see the Team Conti drivers of the one of DeCiani, Patrick Gitter, and Connor Banks all in a line here. You see, of course, Derek Heitman. Here comes the move, though, from Brandon Passalacqua. He jumps up in front of Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, Brandon's definitely going to be trying to get back out front. You know, you don't want to be back in the pack or the fray, if you will, because once the big one happens, it's going to happen. You just don't want to get caught up in that. And the only way you can really keep yourself safe is just to stay, kind of out front.
You don't want to get involved in it this early. And I'm seeing a lot of drivers that have kind of fallen back already. We're seeing somewhat of a separate pack that has formed, guys not wanting to be involved in the hectic racing early. I mean, especially if I'm in the shoes of like Greg Wyszynski, I don't know if I want to be in this front pack. I kind of want to be hanging out because me winning a stage does not help me. Yeah. I have to win this race.
I definitely need to get out of the freaking Hornets nest, kind of get to the background there. And like you said, man, just put yourself in a position to be available at the end of this thing. As long as you don't get lapped, I mean, you still got a shot because, green flag pit stops, that's going to be the big thing. And we're going to talk about that as we get there. But drivers trying to get that car down to speed for the entrance of pit lane, that's going to be a big whoop-whoop for us here tonight.
That's definitely going to be a scary thing as we're looking off the back of, I'm not sure exactly who we're looking at. I do believe this is the back of Patrick Gitter, DeCiani. One thing you notice is these guys are pretty much connected by the bumper. That's one thing these next-gen cars, they seem to be better at than the Xfinity or the truck. You're able to really put a lot more of the bumper to the back of the other guy and really physically push them. You don't really see that in the Xfinity car. You see it in the truck, but not quite as much. These cars are very planted.
You can push the pusher in these cars right here, which is definitely a big deal. Bottom line really struggling. I mean, top line's showing that it's the line to be, and it's definitely the fastest of the two. And some of these guys, we can already tell, are sold out to be on that high side.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I think that high line is definitely going to be the place to be, but it's always going to be strength in numbers. I feel like if you can get some really good pushers on that bottom side, you're going to be able to make it work too. I just feel like it's just all about who your dancing partner is, Big Al. I feel like that's going to be the key here. One thing I noticed on Tuesday was that top line. Like, if you can make that third groove work up top, you're going to be able to make some real good hay there. Now, it is a little dangerous, a little risky, because all it takes is for a little bit of a mistake, and all of a sudden there's a big crash, and you have nowhere to go because you're at the top of the track, and there's a bunch of cars all around you. But if that's the fastest part of the racetrack, if you just get right up by that wall and you have someone on your back bumper, you can be passing everybody. As we see 3 wide, in the middle goes Brian Johnson.
And the reason why you're not seeing 3 wide right now, these guys are not trying to give the advantage to the bottom line. So the high guys are staying high. There's no side drafting going on at this point, so nobody's trying to help anybody.
Well, I mean, you see Brian Johnson, he's decided to take it 3 wide. He's the only one so far that has elected to go 3 wide. He was trying to get past Nick King. And
it's like, come on, man, close this gap. Let's go.
Yeah, this is kind of a little bit of a scary deal here on lap number 5, or should I say lap 6. We're already seeing a little bit of 3 wide. We see the 74 of Paul Whitney there on the bottom. And I don't know if Brian Johnson's just kind of trying to feel it out, see exactly what's going on. He keeps trying to take that run, and this is just a little scary for me. And he's getting really close to Kendall LeBron, and I don't think LeBron knew he was 3 wide there for a second. So Kendall needs to be a little careful. He needs to make sure that he doesn't get involved with Brian Johnson. Especially, Brian looking to continue to build some playoff points, but seems to be just dedicated to trying to go through the middle 3 wide. I don't know why he is so obsessed with going through this middle lane. And no one is helping him. No one is going with him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's his point. I think since nobody's in the middle, he's going to get in there and maybe get the benefit of some side drafting from the top side and the bottom side and find it, kind of make his own luck, if you will. Looks like he's not going to give that up and get back in line. But, yeah.
Now he's pushing Nick King, which is really odd. Nick King and Kendall LeBron are both on Warrior Racing, which is a team that they're kind of both on. So it's shocking to see Brian Johnson now pushing King and kind of separating the Warrior Racing guys and now making that third lane work. And look how fast that third lane is. I mean, these guys are flying up top.
Yeah, now it's going to be decision time. A lot of guys, which way you going to go? Because there's 3 choices right now. They do not shut the middle. So if you don't shut the middle, absolutely, somebody's going to fill in that gap. I promise you that.
Mark Sanchez kind of looks like he just ditched Kenny Powell. Sanchez just jumped down to the bottom behind Greg Wychensky. Now Powell essentially without a teammate in the middle. Andrew Griesbaum's right there behind him, though.
Because Powell's probably trying to get up so he can actually drop down in the fray with his G&G teammates. I don't think Wychensky's wanting to go high. Looks like he's kind of sold out for the bottom line as well. Now Powell washes way high on the racetrack. Looks like he's definitely going to have to try something different, or he might even just be dropping back altogether, Brian.
Yeah, no, he could be. I mean, he could be even trying to link up with his G&G teammate J.C. Evans.
Yep,
as we see in the middle, 3 wide, though. Paul Hill in the middle. Brian Johnson up top. I do believe Johnson might be getting left here by Nick King. And one thing I think that's causing all these gaps to form here in this pack is the side draft. You kind of talked about it a little bit, the side draft. If you get close enough to someone around you, you're going to start pulling them back. And that's going to slow these lines down. And I think that's where we see these gaps start to form because of the air off these cars pulling these guys back.
So what are you thinking, Brian? Here we are. We're 9 laps into this thing, and it's been pretty sporty so far, in my unprofessional opinion. I mean, what are your thoughts?
It's definitely been sporty, and I think that we do have the potential for possibly seeing an accident or something here early. But these guys do know what they're doing a lot of times. I mean, they do practice a lot. They do put a lot of time in. Everything, I think, that these guys do has a purpose. And they're also, I think, just trying to feel out who can I race with, who can I push, who's the fastest guy.
And so as long as the guy that's beside you or in front of you or behind you does exactly what you think he should do, exactly when you think he should do it, you're going to be just fine.
You can see Kendall LeBron in the middle here. And this is going to separate these packs. Look at these guys racing so hard right here has really separated the 2 packs. Mark Sanchez trying to keep pace with that other pack. And it just really shows, I think, the vulnerability of these next-gen cars when it comes to the draft. That you can lose the draft very easily in these race cars. And I think this is something we're going to see all night. These guys are going to start to split up and possibly lose one another. It's very easy to fall off of a pack.
Yeah, especially if it's not organized.
Exactly. If everyone's competing against each other and not working together, then it's going to be a problem. See, one thing that you have to practice here at tracks like Talladega and this next gen is something that is called, that I like to call, coopetition. You have to be able to compete with the drivers around you while also cooperating with them, right? I mean, you have to be able to push that guy. That way y'all both don't get hurt. Because, I mean, a lot of times selfish driving equals losing the pack, Yeah,
absolutely. And you definitely you want to make certain that you're open to a lot of different options. You don't want to really close anybody off, especially this early in the race, because you never know who's going to be left there at the end of this thing. And it's like you're not playing musical chairs. You have to have somewhere to somebody to work with.
That's definitely true. It is important to have someone to work with. And one thing about it is these guys have long memories. I mean, If you do something in the race selfishly early, well, guess what? Later in this race, when it comes to lap 100, lap 118, that last lap, that guy may make a decision based on what you did 100 laps before.
Roger that.
And then you're without a trophy because you didn't help him out. As we see Derek Jacobs, I do believe, getting ready to go a lap down it. I got to be completely honest, a little bit transparent here. Derek Jacobs, I know he's usually a pretty good super speedway racer. This is missed opportunities for me when it comes to this 27. Like, I always get excited when we go to super speedway races because I feel like, oh, Derek's going to do better. I've seen him lead these races. I've seen him work, with Chris Severa back in the day. Those two were really good together on the super speedways. But it's like Jacobs really didn't even give himself a fair shot at it. I think he thought maybe a caution was going to come out here early, but that's not what happens at all. He is going to go a lap down here.
Yeah, going a lap down this early at Talladega is really, I mean, wow. It's going to suck because maybe there is something wrong with his car that's not allowing him to keep the pace, and he has definitely got to tailgate this group coming up behind him, Brian. Otherwise, he's going to lose the draft yet again in Talladega. That's just equals another. It's lonely when you're out there by yourself.
It is, and it just breaks my heart because I feel like I'd love to see Derek succeed. Derek Jacobs is a longtime friend of mine, as well as I'm sure our producer Kenny Coppola deciding to get behind him and push him, which that's good on Kenny. I'm glad that he did that.
Yeah, I don't know about the Coppola part, but yeah, way to go, Kenny.
Did I say Coppola? Derek Jacobs. Kenny Powell is what I meant. I didn't mean to say Coppola. I'm sorry. Hey, people know I know Kenny Coppola, so I do apologize. I get the Kennys mixed up.
It's okay.
Connor Banks, I'll tell you what. Oh, wow. Connor Banks, though, been trading for this lead. Team Conti is in control of this race right now. They both are leading. Matt DeCiani and Connor Banks have pretty much been leading the top and bottom lane. I like this strategy. I feel like this is a really, really valid strategy. You get two of your teammates to control both lanes. I mean, why? That way you don't have any competition if you're controlling both lanes. I do want to mention, though, we have had the packs kind of come back together in a lot of ways. Jay Hone, I do believe, has caught up to the back of Paul Hill. The packs have become one again.
They're trying to get it back together, Brian. It's still just a little bit of a struggle as there's a 3-car, well, it's a trifecta, I guess, that's further back, and they're still going to be in definite danger of losing the draft.
Yeah, I mean, you see Josh Schaffner's working with, I do believe, Jeffrey Souza. These guys are trying to catch up. But you still see this battle is kind of still going on, and this is causing, this is allowing Jeffrey Souza and Josh Schaffner to kind of drive away from the likes of, like, Matthew Cisna and Nick King. These guys need to just say, hey, we got to form up, and we can't race. We got to catch this pack, and then we can race.
And we talk about this all the time because it's one of those things where you literally have to work together or you're not going to get anywhere. And that's what I was saying. You got to be open to pretty much anything when you start at the start of these races, Brian. We're still 17 laps ago, which means we're slowly getting ready to put stage 1 in the books. And it has been pretty, I'm going to look for a word here. I'm going to have to go deep into my repertoire to describe what we've seen thus far. But right now we're seeing side-by-side racing as both the bottom and the top lines are starting to line up. I think guys are starting to kind of figure it out. It's definitely go time for Talladega. It's about 10 laps till. When it's 10 laps to go in the stage, that's really when it's time to go. That's why these two lines have actually caught up. But now we're going to see who can actually separate themselves.
Yeah, no, I think that they're definitely seeing the sand drain out of the hourglass here. They realize that, hey, the end of the stage is coming up very, very soon. We're coming up, I do believe, to 7 laps to go in stage number 1. As we see a move there to the high side, Jason Maines trying to go 3 wide up top. No one went with him. I think he might have even touched the wall a little bit there. A little bit of a block there, possibly from Paul Hill, but as Paul Hill moves up to the top 3 wide, Abner Acosta pushing him. or should I say Abner Acosta pushing Jason Maines.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are going to start to wake up because this stage break is kind of a mini practice, if you will. We're going to get to do this one more again. But the playoff drivers, man, you're either going to be in one or two spots. You're going to be in the back playing it safe, or you're going to be right up there in the middle throwing haymakers.
Well, if you're already secure, I feel like if you're already secure in the top 8, like if you know that I'm moving on to the next round, now's the time to get playoff points, right? I mean, now's the time to get playoff points for later in the season, for later in the playoffs.
And also gives you a snapshot of how this thing's going to play out, because now we've got 3 definitive lines, and that middle line is breaking apart, but they were actually the dominant line thus far. Now everybody's kind of scattering like cockroaches when the light comes on.
Yeah, this is getting crazy. Almost 4 wide right now as we see this front pack has really started to get a little bit scary. Now, coming up, I do believe 6 laps to go. Next time by, it'll be 5 to go. Brian Johnson kind of all by his lonesome in the middle here.
Yep, they got left out to dry right there. Clayton Hoffman now is going to come down on top. Clayton's up in the top 10 now, Brian.
Yeah, he started further back in this race. I do believe in the, I think outside of the top 20, if I'm not mistaken. So he started outside of the top 15 for sure. And now he's working his way closer to the front, ready to get some stage points. I think that's exactly what these guys are trying to do. They realize, I think, because the first 10 or so laps, they're probably like, I don't know if anything's going to happen. Maybe we'll see a crash. Maybe we'll see a caution. But now that we've done 20 laps under green, I think these guys are realizing, like, hey, we got a race. It's time to go.
Well, speaking of racing, Kenny Powell is off the pace. He has lost the draft. And Paul Ocean is getting ready to make this thing. I mean, it's going to be really exciting here once Grant Powell hits in the fray here on the backstretch.
We're going to see, you say Olson's getting ready to go a lap down?
Well, he's right there. He is on the same stretch as the leaders. Now he is entering 3 and 4, and they're literally coming up right behind him. Unless he dips down in the pit road, and he is going to be a factor.
That's another thing. It's like Paul Olson, I know, really good at these kind of style of tracks, and usually feels really confident at these places. I just don't know why these guys. I think they started from the pit, so that's the only thing I can think of is that him and Derek Jacobs probably elected to start from the pits, and this is why they're going a lap down. And you know the ISCA. If I'm in the ISCA, I know how green this series is. I know how clean these guys race. Starting in the pits is a guarantee going a lap down in this series. I feel like, in the officials, if this is an A open right now, yes, start from the pits because you will probably miss the crash. But in the ISCA, it doesn't usually work out that way.
Well, one of these two is going to get the lucky dog, and with that, they'll be able to advance back around. And I believe right now that it's going to be Paul Olson because he was the last to be passed.
Yeah.
So that's going to work out in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to tag onto the back of this pack right now. He's kind of hanging off.
I mean, he's got solid teammates that are in both the front pack and the back pack right now. So, yeah, he's not alone.
But Matt DeCiani in control right now, coming to 2 laps to go in stage number 1. Essentially, DeCiani, him and Connor Banks has kind of led a lot of laps here in stage 1, but it's been mostly DeCiani. DeCiani, since the green flag flew, has pretty much been the man to beat. He's been working very well with his dancing partner, Patrick Gitter. I mean, and it helps that these guys have the ability to communicate with one another. That's one thing about it is, one thing that I think is so valuable about having a good teammate is that you can communicate with him. You're in the same Discord. You're in each other's ear. You're able to say, hey, I'm going here. I'm going there.
Speaking of going, look at the run Wachowski's getting on that high side down. He is definitely going to get some blockers. I mean, they're going to come. That's going to happen, man. But he and Brian Johnson were smoking on that high side. It's exactly what you were saying. Now it's definitely kind of slowed down a little bit, but it's still neck and neck with the bottom row. As we are coming around, this is the last lap in the stage, and we are ready to make some money.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is one of those kind of tracks. You're going to see blocking. I think that's going to be something we're going to see. Those guys were communicating. I guarantee you, Patrick Gitter, Matt DeCiani, those guys were probably talking and saying, hey, here comes Greg. We can't let him get up here. So let's jump up there. We see the momentum where it shifted We got to jump up in front of him. And here we go, though. White flag. Big move from Brandon Pasalacqua. He jumps to the bottom. Going to jump down and possibly in front of Randy Mullins.
And just like that, all of his momentum. That's got some big ripples within the pack.
Yes.
That's scary right there.
That almost was a wreck right there because the difference in momentum that Brandon and Randy had was quite substantial, and it has caused that bottom lane to just absolutely sputter. But here we go, down the backstretch for the final time of stage 1 into turn 3. Matt DeCiani. Will he hold on to it? Will his teammate continue to push him? I mean, Patrick doesn't need to win this race. He won last week at Kansas. He says, I'll push my buddy Matt. And they even said it last week. During the interviews last week, they said Matt was the key. I want to push Matt to the victory. And there it is, victory in stage number 1. What a good charge from Greg Wyszynski, finishing 4th in this stage. Greg with the push from Brian Johnson, able to surge ahead to 4th place. That's going to be some very good stage points for the 5 machine.
Indeed,
with that,
yeah.
Let's look at the top 10. Matt DeCiani finishing 1st, Patrick Gitter in 2nd, Derek Heitman 3rd, Greg Wyszynski 4th, Clayton Hoffman 5th, Brian Johnson 6th, Mark Sanchez 7th, Jason Maines 8th, Paul Hill 9th, and Brandon Pasalacqua with that bad move on the last lap falls back to, I do believe, maybe even outside of the top 10. Greg Carr now taking over 10th. But let's go ahead and take a step away. We'll come right back and we'll talk to our stage 1 winner.
It's more than a slogan. Whether you're on the track or making your own track, General Tire, anywhere is possible.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We just completed stage number 1. We're going to go ahead and talk to our stage 1 winner, Matt DeCiani, in the Team Conti 1 machine. Matt, looked like you guys had the plan pretty much just working flawlessly down there on the racetrack. What can you attribute this stage 1 to?
Yeah, I mean, just good teamwork. Me and Pat had an idea, and, you know, if the other guys could get up here, we were just going to do what we can to work as a team, and, yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Now, how big do you think communication is here at a track like Talladega?
Oh, it's really big, especially like when you're up front. You gotta look, you know, have guys behind you telling you about runs so you can get up. You don't want to throw a bad block and cause a wreck. I got a feeling that's probably how some of the wrecks will happen tonight, is just someone will throw a late block and it'll just cause a big wreck. So kind of just managing the runs and just understanding when when the runs are too big to try to block, and just, it's the best way to keep your car clean. So.
And that's going to be a big deal. Do you think the priority for you tonight is to try to get victory lane, considering, Patrick won last week, locked himself into the round of 8. Do you think that's the key for you tonight?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, win the race, you move on, but, we're trying to get as many stage points as we can, just in case something happens, we at least have some points banked. So, gonna race hard here and just try to stay up front all race.
All right, Matt, we'll definitely let you get back to it. I do believe pace car lights have just gone out. Who can we shout out after your Stage 1 victory?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for calling the race, Kenny for putting on the league, thanks for Pat for pushing me that whole run, Team Conti, Martin PC.
All righty, that was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine. Definitely a great run for him in Stage number 1. Pace car lights are out, and this is going to be exciting. Do these guys stay up front now? I mean, we have now Clayton Hoffman, who's worked his way to the front. Greg Wachinski was looking really, really fast there towards the end of Stage 1. What do we see for Stage 2, Big Al?
Well, Stage 2 is going to prove to be a lot like Stage 1. It's going to be spread out. It's going to be the kind of the same. They're in traffic, I think. And then it'll be a 5 to go. It'll be a shootout.
See, I don't know if it'll be the same. I feel like there'll be some more guys maybe doing some crazier things, just because I feel like in Stage 1 they realize that, okay, we lost a draft. If we don't be careful, we will lose it again. And also, they noticed that they were able to stay green for the entire stage. I mean, that kind of is a confidence builder. They would think about maybe racing a little bit harder here. That's maybe my thought on it, but you could be right. It could be much of the same. We could see the pack split up, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. We definitely have seen some guys kind of surge to the front here late in this stage. Let's see what Stage 1 or Stage 2 holds, I should say, as we've already gotten 29 laps down here at Talladega, getting ready to start lap number 30 and stage number 2. So that means we're going to have, I do believe, a 26-lap run to the end of Stage 2. Pace car lights out, and it's down and away. The pace car is. And Matt DeCiani preparing to enter the Geico restart zone to get us under green once again. And there it is. Green flag is out at Talladega for stage number 2. Everyone getting up through the gears. And already we see Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter getting back together, bringing the band back together, and moving up to that higher lane. Derek Heitman giving a really big bump to the back end of Clayton Hoffman. Going to try to get Hoffman up to speed.
High line, bottom line. High line, low line. Where's Brian? What are you thinking?
Me? I mean, if I'm thinking about survival right now. But then again, this is the ISCA. If I was in an open rate right now, I would be running the bottom pretty much the entire time. Because the bottom at Talladega, you can get out of a mess. If you're on the top, you're limited on where you can go to get away from the wreck. So I'm probably going to be sticking on the bottom right now. But I'll tell you what, there's some 3 wide action further back. I see Brandon Pastelacqua racing hard. Kenny Powell up top 3 wide. Also see, I do believe there's Matthew Cisna pushing Jeffrey Souza. So a lot of action out here.
It looks like Powell's going to try to take advantage of that good draft that gets on the high line. He's got the Iceman behind him, Josh Schochner. Good to see Schochner trying to make his way up to the front. Hadn't talked about him a lot tonight, but we need to, especially if he wants to get it done. I don't know how strong of a racer he's going to be, but I would not be trying to hedge my bets on winning the Roval, Brian.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I don't disagree. I got to point out, though, Derek Jacobs is probably going to lose a lap again, and Paul Olson is probably going to lose the lap he just got back. They've already lost a draft. Like I really don't understand this. We got some big blocks going on up front. I hated to take away from the action as having it up front, but I just thought that was kind of weird. Like, why would they want to lose the draft again? But here comes Greg Wyszynski on the bottom, being pushed by Clayton Hoffman. Challenge for the lead from the 5 of Greg Wyszynski. Let's go, Greg. I'm rooting for him.
I hear that train a coming. It's rolling around the bend.
And there goes that Orioles machine up to the front. I think he's going to lead this lap.
Don't jinx his body.
He just led the lap, so I didn't jinx him there.
Yeah, definitely good to see Greg out front because if he wants a shot at this, I mean, you can't go bad. You got Clayton Hoffman pushing you at Talladega. I mean, and look at the lead now that these guys are getting. And one thing I noticed too, Talladega this year has been a very good, strong 3-car. More strong 2-car, but it's good for 3 cars too. But that double car breakaway, that's something that gains teeth really quick here this year.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I think you can make some hay with 3 cars. I definitely think that's true. As I saw, Mark Sanchez jumped up in front of, I do believe, the one of Matt DeCiani. Sanchez, some big blocks happening there. Jason Maines jumps up in front of Mark Sanchez. That was almost a scary incident right there.
Yeah, he stopped that run pretty quick though.
Jason Maines. I know I've seen some of the results this week at the A Opens, and I know he's been running really well at Talladega, and apparently he's got a really fast race car underneath him. As Sanchez hits the wall a little bit there, that's going to cause a little bit of some slowing down in that top groove, as the middle groove seems to be where the speed's at right now.
Yeah, just like that, Mr. Maines lost his momentum because now that middle group is kind of flipping us off if you look at it, but it's okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to be right here.
Oh, man, that's pretty funny, Big Al, gotta say. Derek Heitman, though, in control as we just started lap 35 here at Talladega. Heitman, I do believe this is the first time he's been in the lead here this race. Of course, the Team Conti guys firmly in control. They have the first, second, third, and fourth position at the moment. Abner Acosta is in fifth. Look at Matthew Cisna. He's up into that 6th place position. Looks like he's got a fast race car in that 11th.
I think I was wrong, Brian. You were absolutely right. It is more racy stage 2 than it definitely was in stage 1. Maybe the panic is starting to set in a little bit. But either way,
I just think that these guys have gotten a little more confident. I feel like they were like, okay, we were playing around in stage 1. We ain't playing around in this stage. We getting serious. It's time to do some racing. They're up on that wheel. I'll tell you what, Talladega's known for, Big Al. You can agree with me or not. It's known for white knuckle racing. I'll tell you that. You gripping that wheel hard.
I can only imagine just really being in the race car down there on the track, with these high banks. It's just, that will be one ride for a lifetime right there.
Love these kind of camera angles. Kobe Jordan, of course, bringing us some awesome camera angles. I do believe we're looking off the roof camera of Nick King. And he's, of course, pushing that Burgundy. I think that's a Burgundy race car in front of him. The 11 of Matthew Cisna. Here comes Kenny Powell. Kenny Powell was in that second pack in the first stage. Now he's up here in contention, leading the bottom lane, being pushed by Jay Holm.
Yeah, man.
Abner Acosta working the top lane. He's got Jason Maines behind him. Some big runs happening on that top lane. I told you that third lane up top, if you got the right people in that lane, it can go well. There, look at that. That was almost a block. Derek Heitman thought better of it.
Derek Heitman. He tried, but they were just coming a little bit too fast for him. But otherwise, he would have definitely slid right up there, Brian. That top line is starting to gain more and more followers to Abner.
I'm so glad that he, 4 wide. As we see, I do believe Matthew Cisna side by side with Nick King. This could be a crash waiting to happen here.
Yeah, that never ends well.
4 wide at Talladega. It can happen. It can work.
You get 5 down there breast to breast. You can get 5.
You can, but I'll tell you what, you ain't a whole lot of breathing room. I'll tell you that. But Abner Acosta out front on that top groove. You see Patrick Gitter, though, moves up to the middle groove in front of Derek Heitman. He is currently the race leader. Kenny Powell, though, being pushed by Jay Hone. Jay Hone having a little bit of some technical issues. Hone drops out, and I think that's probably exactly why he dropped out, because of the technical issues. He did not want to hurt anybody because of his blinking.
Yeah, you can't push somebody that's not there. You know, you can't be intermittent and be a partner. You got to be with me. I got to be able to count on you, see you, touch you, feel you. You can't do that if you're intermittent.
That's definitely a true fact. I don't want to be pushing anybody that is not there sometimes.
Right.
But Patrick Gitter right now in control as 14th last week's winner at Kansas.
That's a solid 4-car breakaway. So I don't know if the panic's starting to set in yet, but, you know, these guys are definitely going to have to get. I think they're trying different strategies. I think everybody's just out there throwing numbers at it to see what's going to stick, because, I mean, you go from 1st to 15th really quick in this type of racing.
Yeah, and I mean things can change really, really fast here. And I think you're right. I think a lot of these guys are experimenting. I think that they want to see what will work. What can get me the lead on the last lap? You know, what is the strategy? Who can I work with? Who do I know is capable of pushing me? I mean, a really strong race car right now is Abner Acosta, the 55. He's found his dancing partner. Him and Jason Maines have been really working together, and that's kind of an unlikely duo. Really liking that pair, though.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of different trios and duos that we put together tonight, Brian. Like I said, you got to be open to anything, especially at a racetrack like Talladega. But if Kenny Powell on the wall, that's going to be some serious road rash for the 24 there. Luckily, it did release him under his own recognizance, so he'll be able to recover.
And he didn't lose that much speed. And the reason I think he got into the wall was because the 4 that were in front of him all blocked him. They all went up in front of him because they saw that top lane was starting to get a generator run. But here comes Abner. There goes Kenny Powell. Powell trying to jump back up to make that third groove work again, and he decides thinks better of it. The energy in this pack right now it's electric.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to paint this. There it is. Sanchez turn looks like he hit DeCiani. Caution is out on the racetrack. That is not good. Kenny Powell also involved. Brandon Pasalacqua involved. It wasn't the big one, Elizabeth, but it definitely was one to relook at.
Yeah, I think the main person we're going to want to look at is probably Nick King. I think he had the main issue. Him and I do believe Mark Sanchez. You see Brandon Pasalacqua. So I don't think Powell was involved. I know that was the name that was mentioned. I don't think DeCiani was. So I think it was further back here.
I said DeCiani, but it was actually Pasalacqua.
You see Connor Banks.
Man, and Banks was having a sweet run. Nick King also involved.
You know, this is really bad for Sanchez because Sanchez is below the cut line. This is really bad for Mark Sanchez.
Well, you know, no major damage, and that's the best thing for anybody. Nobody received a repairs required flag, and at a track like this, that's a death sentence. So everybody will get to roll around. This is a track that has it's 2.66 miles around, following the pace car. That gives guys an adequate amount of time to actually get that damage repaired, Brian. So all in all, I think that was just a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse, that's for sure. So a lot of these guys are going to get some damage repaired. But while they're doing that, we'll take a step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back.
But I don't want to leave.
It's more than a slogan. Whether you're on the track or making your own track, General Tire, anywhere is possible.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series here. This is Talladega, as you can see on the wall right there, and that's exactly what it is. We're going to be doing some more racing here tonight. Of course, we're going to be completing Stage 2, and I do believe just over 10 laps. We're going to have 11-lap shootout here for Stage 2. If you're just joining us, we had a caution, I do believe, where some vehicles got involved. Mark Sanchez, I do believe, Nick King, Brandon Pasalacqua, all with a little bit of damage. No repairs required, but they did get some of it fixed. We'll see what that looks like. How anybody, maybe did they get slowed up? I know DJ Derek Jacobs got his lap back. Pace car, though, dipping down pit road is Patrick Gitter, choosing the top side here. Very interesting decision here for Talladega as we enter the Geico restart zone here in just a moment. And the green flag will be out. As here we go, 11 laps here at Dega. Big Al, while we were under commercial, you said that, you know, this is kind of a worrisome thing for you. You're like, oh, yeah, great. 10-lap shootout here at Dega.
Yeah, it's not going to end well for a lot of people. I mean, but that last one, we did actually end up with Nick King. He actually had repairs that were required, so he is still on pit road. And, interesting note, Brandon Pasalacqua has actually, they loaded up the hauler and headed on out as well.
That's interesting. I mean, Pasalacqua usually one that does not have a lot of DNFs. I do believe last week at Kansas he had some problems at that racetrack, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like him to have DNFs. It's kind of interesting as we see some wiggling going on. And we see a lot of battling, a lot of wiggling, a lot of interesting things happening right now.
Yeah, they dropped Jason Maines like a bad habit right there. He was just stuck out to dry. And no sooner than they got around him, they just reconstituted in the middle. And these guys are going at it, Brian. I mean, like I said, it's a 10-lap shootout at Talladega. Nobody's going to sit down. These guys are yeah. Well,
Whoa, these guys are connected further back. I'm seeing Kenny Powell, Greg Carr beating and banging on each other. They're still connected. What is happening right here?
We've got the makings of
something is wrong here. I don't know why that is. I mean, we see Greg and Greg Carr and Kenny Powell both connected there for a moment. I'm surprised that didn't end with a crash. Usually when you see something like that at Talladega, it ends with a crash.
Yeah,
there goes Kenny Powell. Big move.
Yeah, Clayton Hoffman actually came up and they elected to stay behind Nick King, which kind of slowed that middle run down. But Nick King definitely has to appreciate the loyalty there that he received, probably from an unlikely source.
Nick King? I thought Nick King was in pit road with a meatball.
Not Nick King, but Paul Hill. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, Paul Hill in the 26. Definitely, as he's sitting behind Greg Carr right now, giving him some big pushes. Greg Carr looking like he's got some speed. You see Clayton Hoffman right behind him, Derek Heitman. Essentially, I think the Team Conti guys have gotten split up, which is interesting. You know, you see Patrick Gitter and Matt DeCiani, they're together still. So it's interesting to see all these kind of different teams working together and seeing what they can do. I mean, the different teams can kind of see like, hey, if I'm stuck alone and I don't have a teammate, can I work with this guy? I think this is something these guys are finding out right now.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just watching this because like all the ingredients are there for a tornado, okay? And a tornado in Alabama, I mean, somebody's going to lose a trailer.
Yeah, they definitely could lose a trailer out here in Alabama. Big run, though, for Greg Carr. Carr is getting some monster runs in the middle here, starting to get closer and closer to possibly a 3-wide battle for the lead. There goes a move for Patrick Gitter. He jumps down in front of Greg Carr. And there we are, 3 wide for the lead.
3 by 3. We have 4 rows of 3, 5 rows of 3 there.
You love to see it. I mean, this is the fastest parade you're going to see. A parade at 200 mile an hour. That's Matt DeCiani, though, in control, and of course he won stage number 1. Now he's the Pied Piper in stage 2. Can he go back to back? He talked about, he said, I just want to earn stage points. Well, he's doing a good job of it right now as we come to 6 laps to go in stage 2. There we go. Matt DeCiani jumps down in front of Patrick Gitter. Top lane surges ahead, though. Randy Mullins takes the lead. Wow, Randy's in the top 5.
Yeah, wow, Randy's in the lead of this thing right now.
Kenny
Bottom
Powell
row trying to get some steam built back up so they can actually try to run. Middle row kind of lost its zing. But somebody's trying to get the band back together. That's going to be awesome if they could. They're going to need more than 3 to compete, though.
I mean, look at the band, though, on the bottom lane. The band is together here. The two-person duo of Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter, they are rolling right now.
Yeah, and they are definitely trying to block everywhere they can. It's like Gitter's going to take a nice bump, which he's going to return to DeCiani. DeCiani definitely enjoying that nudge ahead. Wonder if they're going to stay high or come back low again, because these two guys have shown that they really don't care what lane they're in as long as they're in the lead.
Yeah, and one thing, the way that they're able to drive is something that I think is incredibly impressive. These guys almost drive as if they're one car. Like they're not. They drive as if they are, 2 cars tied together and made into one car. The way that they're able to move in such fluid motions, and it of course shows, like DeCiani was talking about. He said it's all about communication, and you can see that these guys are very much communicating with one another. They know what the other's thinking.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, Brian, as we enter the fray with 4 laps to go in this stage before it's over, I mean, this is a tricky situation because we could actually lose a lot of playoff cars just if anything goes wrong. So it's one of those Talladega situations. We're just going to see how it ends.
Paul Hill, though, getting some really good runs on the bottom lane. Of course, he's being pushed by Abner Acosta. You see as well Kendall LeBron in the 28. Of course, you see as well Greg Wachinski. Talk about playoff driver. If Greg Wachinski gets caught up in a crash, this is a bad deal for him.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Here we go, 3 laps to go. Matt DeCiani ditching his teammate, jumping up in front of Randy Mullins.
Oh, Kenny Powell.
Oh, getting him out hard into the wall.
I think he actually made contact with Randy Drumhiller as well.
He definitely made contact with the wall. I saw that. I didn't see the Drumhiller, but I believe you. I think he definitely had some contact with somebody. I don't see any damage on the right side, which is good. But it looked like a harder hit. I guess it wasn't that hard of a hit. He's going to live to fight another day. But Matt DeCiani in control right now. It's Paul Hill trying to make something happen.
That definitely shook everything up a lot of it, Brian. So now we're going to be 2 to go here at the line.
That's right, 2 laps to go. This Paul Hill right now in control. Can DeCiani mount a charge here? He's got Randy Mullins, who's not his teammate, right behind him. Randy Mullins has a teammate, Brian Johnson, right behind him. Do they make a charge for it?
Yeah, we still got plenty of time left for Calamity.
Of course, Paul Hill being pushed by yet another not teammate, Abner Acosta. I mean, Abner Acosta, of course, and Paul Hill have some history back in New Hampshire. I always bring it up, and a lot of people are probably like, well, Brian, why are you always bringing that up? But it looks like they're working really well together right now. Even though
that was kind of pre-hashtag, Brian. That was more pound sign.
That was a long time ago. It was. I mean, they're working together right now, though, so it shows how long ago it was. Greg Wachinski, though, look at him making a move, jumping up in front of DeCiani. DeCiani not going to push him, though.
Going to leave him to drive, but that's good for Greg to know. Now he knows exactly where he stands. His teammate J.C. Evans takes a swipe. Thank goodness he missed.
Whoa, J.C. almost wrecked his teammate. I know exactly what J.C. was thinking. J.C. was like, I'll push Greg. And Greg's like, no, don't touch me. Like, don't touch me.
Get off me.
You're going to wreck me. Don't do it.
Ooh,
look at that. Greg Wachinski up top, 3 wide, lap car. As that's Mark Sanchez, I do believe. And they're going to catch him, and they are, oh, man, this is a hornet's nest. Oh, they're wrecking. And caution is out. That ends the stage. I don't think a lot of damage.
They're still wrecking.
No.
Wow.
Greg Wachinski's in it. Oh, no. J.C. Evans, how? They're teammates. We gotta look back at this. How did this happen?
Hey, Brian, Greg Wachinski has a repairs required flag.
Oh, we got to look at this. Keep going. Keep rewinding.
Yeah, you want to be right there at the line.
Caution flag is out. How does JC hit Greg?
Trying to stay out of the way.
I just don't understand it. How did they hit each other here? We see Mark Sanchez on the bottom. You see Wachinski. I just don't understand. Okay, you see Greg Carr and yep. I don't know what just happened, but okay, you see, and all of a sudden, it was Greg Carr and Wachinski come together
a little bit. Back from watching Wachinski. There you go.
There we go. Greg Carr trying to avoid Paul Hill.
Broken toe link.
Oh, man. He's the one that absolutely needed to win this race.
And what sucks is that was post caution.
Well, the thing is so Greg Carr and Greg Wachinski get involved with each other. But why did JC come up and hit him? That's what I don't understand. Like,
Well, JC kind of got caught in that because he was coming up on the high side at the rear, thinking that hey, the caution's out, so everybody's going to slow down. And we actually did not. That was not the stage break.
well, Big Al, who do you want to talk to? That was it. That the caution's out because that's the stage. Randy Mullins, your stage 2 winner.
I think we
You
should
wanna
count that as caution.
Oh, well, I mean, the caution came out, I do believe, as a result of the stage, I think. But, I mean, I don't know. That's up to you, man. If you want to count that as a caution, you can.
We're going to have to talk to Kobe about that, too.
Okay, so who do you want to talk to, Big Al? Because we ain't got time to go away for a commercial, I don't believe.
Who won the stage?
Randy Mullins.
I'll talk to Randy. Actually, I want to talk to Greg Wachinski.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, I want to talk to Greg.
All right, well, he's up in the booth. You got him.
Hey, Greg Wachinski, Big Al up in the booth, man. I know this is not the circumstance I wanted to be talking to you under. We actually had you pick to win this thing tonight. What happened, man?
I don't know. You tell me. I was. It was pretty chaotic there coming across the start-finish line. I was up against the wall, and somebody came up into me. I guess I don't know. Craziness.
We're going to leave it at that. There's no sense of us unpeeling that right now. But how's your car? You think this is going to affect your chances at all here tonight, or you think you're going to actually make a solid recovery?
Oh yeah, my car is destroyed. So I don't know. I'm going to try to get it fixed, a little bit fixed, but I don't think that'll be a factor.
Man, I hate to hear that. I know you guys put in a lot of work here for the season, and to see it kind of like almost in like this. You still got a shot next week at the Roval, but you kind of got backed into the corner here, man. But once you get that fixed, we're not going to bother you too much. Who you want to give a shout out here while we got you on the air?
Oh, of course, you guys up there working hard in the booth. You do a great job. The whole league, ISCA. Had really fast team Watson racing set up in this thing tonight, man. I was ready to go to the front at all times. And that's about it.
All right, Greg. Well, good luck to you, man. We're not going to count you out just yet. Hopefully you can get that dog repaired and get back in the fight.
Thank you. Take care.
Big Al, I think he just needs a stem. Can you give him a stem?
He needs stems.
Man, that is unfortunate for him, for sure, though. You could just hear the disappointment. And, definitely unfortunate. He was looking fast. He definitely had a fast race car.
And I didn't have the heart to tell him that it was his own G&G teammate that kind of prematurely bought out that unwarranted celebration.
Yeah. To be honest, Sanchez, if Sanchez had not have been there going a lap down at that wrong, if he hadn't have been there, they would have never had that accident.
Well, whenever you got lap traffic at Talladega like that, and especially when they're racing for the end, it's a bad situation. But you got to understand where Sanchez is coming from.
I really don't.
But he has to beat the leaders to the flag. He has to, otherwise he loses another lap.
I just want you to think about this. We're at Talladega. It's on the white flag lap for one of the stages. Do you think that they're going to... I mean, I know that, but it's just like you also have another teammate that's in that pack that you could easily kill, and that's exactly what happened.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate because I know for a fact that he would have communicated across the radio saying, "Hey guys, I'm going to stay low. Hey guys, I'm going to stay low. Hey guys, I'm going to stay low." And they might not like that, but you have to deal with it. You have to contend with it. He has the right to be there.
No, I mean, I guess. No, I get what you're saying. I totally understand.
He didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't malicious.
No, I know he didn't do it on purpose. I know he didn't do it on purpose. I 100% know he didn't do it on purpose. But still, it's just like a combination of the worst things. Like, that's the worst time to catch someone is when you're everyone is fighting for every position that they can at Talladega in the playoffs. Like, I understand he's a playoff driver.
It's the pressure. Pressure does weird things to people. I mean, and so he got himself caught up in a situation, and he did what he thought was the best thing. And it might have worked out for him, but unfortunately, it didn't work out for some of his teammates. I mean,
and also like JC as well. Like JC, like right. Greg got double teamed by his teammates. And, Carr was trying to avoid Paul Hill. It was just a bad situation altogether. But here we go. Getting ready to start stage 3. It was. Green flag is out for stage number 3 here at Talladega. Matt Niciani won stage 1. Randy Mullins wins stage 2. Who's going to win the race? Derek Heitman's up through the gears. He's got Randy Mullins right behind him.
And this is that stage right here. We're halfway. Right now, we're officially halfway in the race. This is that part of the trip where, the sun's going down. The kids are all kind of quiet, going to sleep. And now it's just the driver. And he's just kind of got it. He's got to stay awake, Brian. And he's got to keep that thing on the road. And he's got to keep that thing out of trouble.
Yeah, he definitely has got to try to do that.
There's no pit crews. It's just right now, he's got to figure out where he wants to be. Because he can't lose that draft. And he's got to starting to figure it out a little bit ahead of time. Like, what's our pit strategy? Are we going to run high? Are we going to run low? Do we need to run 2 lines the entire time? Or would it be better for us to go single file? I mean, these are all of the things that the teams are trying to figure out.
I don't know, man. It looks like they're on the last lap right now to win the race. They definitely don't seem like they're concerned about pit strategy right now. But I do believe that is something they need to be thinking about. I mean, if these guys are required to do a green flag stop, which usually the stage 3 in the ISCA, that's usually when you're going to have to do a green flag stop. So that's something that these guys are probably going to end up having to think about. Look at that, man. I'll tell you what. Derek Jacobs up in 6th right now. Look at him go. That's good on him, man. I was hoping he would do some work here tonight. Looks like he was trying to save that car for now to show its speed. Another driver I'm kind of looking at, Josh Schaffner. Schaffner is another one that's in the must-win. The Corn Man, he has had just terrible tragedies in the last couple weeks of his, season.
Yeah, Schaffner definitely finds himself in a must-win situation as well because, like I said, you don't want to be in a playoff situation next week at Charlotte Roval where you have to actually win to get in. It's just, I don't care how good of a driver you are. We've just got too many left turn, right turn ringers in this league for me to feel confident.
Well, Schaffner, I think, has got a better chance than most at that track. Because he's been doing really good at the road courses. I mean, we got to give him credit where credit's due. I mean, he's been getting top 5s at these road courses and doing really well. Watkins Glen, of course, didn't go that well for him. But at the Charlotte Street Course, or not the Charlotte, the Chicago Street Course, I think he got a podium there. He's been doing good at the road courses.
That's awesome, and he needs to do great because he needs a podium is not going to do it. He needs a W to get in. That's all I'm saying. And when you're going against guys like, Abner Acosta's going to have to get a win to get in. That's another situation that he's going to find himself in. It's just tricky.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Abner, I don't think he necessarily has to win to get into the next round. But I know Abner is pretty close to that cutoff line. I think you're right. He's going to have a stellar race. I think Abner's having a good race tonight. I mean, Talladega's not one I would circle for an Abner Acosta, but he's been running good. He's led some laps. But Derek Heitman right now in control. Team Conti, it's in the name, Team Conti. They clearly have got the team part of it figured out because they got the top 3 spots.
Yeah, don't go counting all those eggs just yet. Some of those ain't chickens.
That's true. There's some ducks in there, too.
We still got a long way to go. I mean, and these guys are hitting it 3 wide. They're not showing any signs of slowing down, so it looks like they're going to race all the way to the end, which I don't mind. It gives us something to talk about, and then definitely none of these guys are going to fall asleep. How about that? Kenny Powell.
Some blocks going on there.
To the bottom. Good. I bet he's happy to find himself up front here,
But I gotta say, I know Kenny is probably happy to be up front right now. But knowing Kenny, he wants to keep the playoff hopes alive for his teammate. So I gotta say, he's probably a little upset about Greg, being involved in that crash. And he's probably hoping that someone, that some sort of G&G representation is in the top 8, in the playoff, from going on past the round of 8. I mean, if I was a team owner, like Kenny Powell is. I keep saying Kenny Copeland. Like Kenny Powell is. I want someone to be representing our team in the round of 8, right? But Kenny's got to be happy, though. He's competitive. Very fast looking right now as he's being pushed by Abner Acosta. You also see Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman has had a very, very quiet day. Haven't really heard a whole lot of craziness from the 92 camp.
Yeah, starting this thing further back, wasting no time to kind of get up here in the fray right now, and these guys are riding up front. Got to feel pretty good because, you know, like I said, you definitely don't want to be mid to rear pack because that's where all of the problems are going to occur.
Yeah, one thing about these kind of tracks, I mean, you're not safe anywhere at Talladega, but you are a little bit safer, I think, at the front. Because at least at the close, ooh!
What are we
Kendall
doing?
LeBron into the outside wall. What just happened? I don't know what that was. I think somebody might have just gave Kendall a bad bump and he got up into the wall. Somehow we stay green. That almost was bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's ugly. I'll say that. So far, I guess they're making it work.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall stays alive. He's going to be able to keep going. I'm glad that we didn't get a yellow there. Derek Jacobs in the middle. 3 wide. Look at him.
52 laps to go.
Yeah, we have a long way to go, Big Al. But these guys are racing it out.
You know, we do have the potential, just the slight potential of having green flag pit stops. But, I mean, there's clear skies right now, so no telling what's going to actually happen, Brian. I don't even want to speak of it. But green flag pit stops would definitely throw a little bit of a I guess a baby in the mix. There you go. Yeah, it put a baby in the mix.
Okay, I don't. But 38 laps on a fuel window. Of course, the guys that are in the lead of these lines, like Derek Heitman, he's burning more gas than everybody behind him. So his fuel window is not going to be 38 laps. It's going to be a little bit shorter than that. So that's something we got to keep in mind too. And if there was any series on iRacing that could go green and require green flag pit stops, ISCA is one I have circled. I think that this would be one that, yeah, we probably will see green flag stops in the ISCA tonight. I hope so. I really do hope so. Kenny Powell getting a big push from Abner Acosta, as it looks like the Team Conti guys have a little bit of a challenge from Kenny Powell. Seeing that third groove moving up top there, Jeffrey Souza leading it. I think Jeffrey Souza has Connor Banks behind him. And Banks, I do believe, was involved in that crash earlier, so at least he's got the speed to still keep up here. I do want to mention a little bit of an update here. Greg Wachinski now 8 laps down. So it looks like he has totally lost any ability to possibly win this race. Mark Sanchez, a lap down.
You don't think he could recover from that?
Laps down?
8 laps down, you don't think that's recoverable?
It just depends on how many cautions we have. Like, he's just coming off of pit road as we speak. And the pack's going to be flying by him anytime now. So, yeah, no, I don't think he's recovering from this. Unless we have 8 cautions, 9 cautions, then maybe.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Very small chance. Very small.
Well, hopefully Greg will be able to get out there and at least get back up to speed and be able to, look competitive. That's the key. You don't want to see the guy out there riding around by himself. But these guys aren't showing any signs of slowing down. They've been 3 wide since we've started stage 3. And, man, they're still rolling, Brian. So we're just going to continue to monitor these guys because eventually they are going to have to start to develop a pit road strategy. And that's the next thing we're looking forward to.
Yeah, Kenny Powell right now in control. He's found a unlikely teammate in Abner Acosta. Paul Hill now linking up with Patrick Gitter. Looks like the Team Conti guys 1, 2, 3, 4 right now in that middle groove. So yeah, no, I think everybody's trying to find their dancing partners. A lot of guys are starting to communicate. They've been communicating all race, but they're starting to communicate about when we're going to pit. They're like, okay, if we stay green, when are we coming down? What are we doing? Are we taking left sides? Are we taking no tires? How much gas are we taking?
I think they're taking a full bag of gas, and they're not taking any tires.
It just depends, Big Al. How long does it take to fuel the race car?
Yeah,
if it takes over 8 minutes or 8 seconds or so, then it doesn't hurt to take left sides. It helps you get off pit road.
I think these guys might not even take a full bag of gas. They're probably factoring it down to figure out just how many, because we only have one green, white checker in this league, so there's not really any need to take a full bag of gas. So teams are going to be wanting to calculate how much fuel do I need to get to the end of this thing, plus maybe a gallon and a half or 2 gallons, and I do believe that's what's going to drive it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean it could be, definitely could be. I think that's good,
You really don't need a full bag.
It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close on fuel, I think. I mean, because 38 laps, we went green, I do believe, for this stage at around lap 59 or something like that. I'd have to do some.
They're 15 on their stint. There's 46 laps to go in the race.
So yeah, no, I think they'll be pretty good. They could take a little less gas, yeah.
And I've been observing some of these teams, so I think a lot of these guys even know what kind of adjustment to make that car sit down lower as well, Brian. If it doesn't have a full bag of gas on board. So that's going to be the key. The key is going to be to spending the least amount of time on pit road perfect, because once you come out of there, if you have divisions, it's really going to be hard to catch that lead pack.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely a good observation. I think that could be. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out, and it also, when do these guys come as well? Like, big wiggles.
I called it, but it didn't happen. That's foreshadowing, people. That's what we call that.
That was almost a wreck. Derek Jacobs, I do believe, almost got wrecked there. I think that was maybe some contact with Randy Mullins. Of course, didn't really get good eyes on it, so not sure exactly who was at fault there. But it looks like we stay green. So good saves from these guys. And good heads-up driving. I mean, that could have easily turned into a wreck.
Now Jacobs has to get his head back on that swivel, man, and he has got to figure out how to get back up into the fray. Because honestly, I like seeing Derek up in the front. We hadn't seen him up here in a while. And he has a little bit to this, man. It's he's one of those unsponsored teams, if you will, that everybody's out there rooting for. It's a good team. They're grassroots. They don't have a whole lot of sponsors. They're just out there trying to make it work, and good on them.
Yeah, I mean, you usually don't expect, and I hope Derek understands this, but you don't expect to see him in the front. He usually is one of the guys that is off the pace, to be honest. But at tracks like this is the track that I know that team circles because they have a legit shot. We've seen Jacobs lead laps in the ISCA at these sorts of tracks, and that's why I was kind of down on him a little earlier. I was like, man, why would you let yourself go a lap down in this race and maybe lose an opportunity to win? But now he's back in it. Now you're seeing why I was kind of let down earlier, because he does have speed. He usually can be really fast at these sorts of tracks, and I'm hoping, and I'm rooting for him too, Big Al. I want to see that 27 in victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. You're really upset, man, and that's okay, because he's back. He's going to be okay. As long as he can keep that thing clean and debt-free, Brian, he'll have as good a shot as anybody else is up here still running. He's starting to settle down a little bit now. Instead of 3x3, we're 2x2. Top line still seems to be the dominant line, and I know a lot of these drivers are watching that because as this thing goes to the wire, that's where you're going to want to be is what I'm understanding. It seems like the higher the better. Even that wreck occurred down on the low end of the field.
Yeah, no, I think that higher line is going to be where you're going to want to be. I think you can make, like I said before, you can make the bottom work. Those guys are not slow on the bottom. It's just, I think that you do have the ability to have more momentum up on the top. That's the longer distance around the track, and a lot of people would probably be like, well, how does that work, Brian? Usually the shorter distance around the track is probably going to be the better way around. That is true probably in some cases, but also
2 years ago it was true in the sim.
Well, yeah, for sure. But, I mean, I think in real life, the top groove is better a lot of times at tracks like Daytona or Talladega because of the fact that you don't have to turn the wheel as much. And a lot of times when you turn the wheel on that bottom lane, that scrubs speed off the race car, out of the race car. But when you're on the top groove, you're not having to turn it as much. You go a lot straighter. Also, a longer distance around the track equals getting the RPMs higher. You're able to get that to the higher speeds.
Man, Derek Heitman taking the lead of this thing now, still running that middle line. Bottom line, Randy Mullins down there. Mullins actually the stage 2 winner. Going to give a shout out to Randy. Not only is Randy in the top 5, he was in the lead and won a stage.
Which is really good.
Yeah, definitely a strong contender to win this race as well.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And Randy, he needed them points. I mean, Randy's, I think, 7th in the points right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. He's kind of one of those guys that's just above the cut line. He's not that safe right now, Big Al. He's not that safe. And so that stage win really did a lot for his team.
Well, look at here. We got Alexander and Greg Carr that have double tandemed up there. They're going to be on that high line. And I don't think these guys are going to break that up. I think they're probably going to run together like this, see if they can get up to the front and maybe even, run their hand, and then they'll get back in line, I do believe, for the pit stops. Blocking.
Yeah, you see Kendall's kind of trying to work with him and a little bit of contact with the wall as Alexander Carr kind of beats that car on the wall. Trying to make this top groove work. We're almost 4 wide back here in the pack. As these guys just don't seem to want to work together. A lot of these guys don't like each other, it seems like.
I mean, yeah, you step out, you're left out. That seems to be the model of this race, man. Because as soon as somebody tries to join somebody that they're not with, they're leaving.
It's like it's almost like going to try to find somewhere to eat in the lunchroom in school.
Yeah, you're not. You sit down, they get up and leave.
They don't like, oh, you stink. We don't want to sit with you. Tell you what, Derek Jacobs working his way back up into the top 10. Glad to see that. Jacobs not going to let him, he's not going to give up. He's not going to be discouraged. You love to see it. Now 80 laps into this race. I do believe the fuel window has opened up here. If that 38 laps is to be believed, some guys, if they pitted now, could make it to the end. I don't think we're going to see any takers right now, though.
Yeah, but you still have a high probability of a caution just based on where we're geographically located. So, with that said, now definitely you'll be taking 4 tires and fuel. Should have caution come out. But I think
if a caution came out now, I think we would just be a straight-up race to the end.
Yeah, I think these guys are going to run this thing as hard as they can. And this is going to prove to be interesting because now they're on the same straightaway as the 5 of Wachinski, and these guys are still 3 wide. So does Greg go low, or does Greg stay and hold his line?
Greg. If I was Greg, I'd just get out of the way. Like, do whatever I can to get out of the way. Because, he's not in contention for anything.
Well, he was.
He's not anymore, though.
People didn't get out of
but the thing that caused him to wreck was a lap car being, a little bit selfish. So do you want to do that same thing?
You're the Christian here, man. I'm a Christian too, but you're gonna really dial it up and say, hey, this is what he should do, and that's what I'm wanting to hear.
I think he should get out of the way. I just think that. He's 9 laps down. Like, what do you think he should do, Big Al?
Hold his line.
Hold his line. Okay.
Hold his line.
There's no wrong answers here, really. It's just, I just feel like there's playoffs going on, and see, he did the right thing. He's getting out of the way. He's going up top.
Oh yeah.
I don't blame him for doing this. Good idea.
Top or bottom is still,
But if you try to hold that now, I understand like holding that bottom yellow line.
But see, towards the end of that race,
was towards the end of the stage.
The end of the stage, you know that the race is going to be high. So then you got to stay low, right?
I don't know. I'm being judgmental of Mark Sanchez, but I just feel, you know, like that was the wrong thing to do right then. And so I understand that. But I mean, I think Greg did the right thing. Greg stayed high. In my opinion, that's the thing to do at Super Speedway Racing. If you want to do the respectful thing, you stay high.
Unless it's the last lap of the stage when you know
then you
that
just stay low and stay in the way and you just stay in the way. That's when you do it.
That's a legitimate conversation that we're having because you know that the fastest line is the high line. So Sanchez was technically in the right place.
I don't know, man. I guess I concede. Whatever. Derek Heitman, he's not running the high line. Like, so, I mean, but I mean, then again, he might be trying to, I don't know, he's probably not trying to save gas. But I mean, both lines can be fast. I get what you're saying. He's
trying to lead the race right now. Heitman is not loyal to anybody or any lane at this point. I mean, that's just a true statement. If he can see himself in a better position going high, he'll throw that block and go high.
Tell you what, man, very good run for Alexander Carr and Greg Carr. Looks like they're working with Derek Jacobs here.
Yeah, we've seen already that they are very finicky about who they're going to work with, which, you know, good on them. I applaud that.
They picked working with Abner Acosta. And Abner's been one that's been flirting around in the top 10 quite a bit. He's been working with anybody he really can. And you know, Abner doesn't have a teammate out here. His brother usually works with him at Jose, but Jose's not here. Oh, here comes green flag pit stops. The Team Conti guys jumping down. I did not see that coming either.
Yeah, still 34 laps to go in this thing. They are stopping early. And these guys are not going to be filling it up, Brian.
No, definitely not.
Well, yeah, I think they really kind of do have to go heavier on the bag, though, just because there's so much time left. But when they come out now, the other teams have to be thinking, because when these guys come out, that entire group right there is going, and not even all of them stopped, which is even more funny. Not all the Paradigm drivers actually came in.
No, I mean, that was Randy Mullins was kind of did the opposite of what other guys did. And that's definitely interesting. But one thing, you know, here comes some more guys. Here comes Derek Jacobs. Here comes Clayton Hoffman. Here comes Greg Carr, Alexander Carr, Abner Acosta, a whole litany of drivers. 5 wide on pit road.
And this is going to be a big deal because you can still receive damage right here, and you got to get in your box. All these drivers diving down. They're actually doing a pretty good job.
I'm surprised they didn't have contact right there.
Yeah.
That was close.
Way to go, guys. So, successful green flag pit stops at Talladega. Check the block. I mean, now we're going to come back, and these guys are going to do everything they can to actually catch that lead pack.
Well,
yeah,
the thing is, I like Team Conti's decision, Randy Mullins and those guys, because I feel like those guys are going to have less cars. Yeah, about 5 cars or 6 cars together. That's less variables. I want to have about that many cars, because that means we're not going to have a whole lot of conflicts when it comes to the way we're driving. We're going to be racing together. We're going to be staying in a line. This is the whole point, because the fastest way around Talladega is stay in a line. Just keep pushing each other. And look at that. They are driving by everyone right now. Oh, contact. Clayton Hoffman into the outside wall.
Oh, we're wrecking. Caution's out.
And caution is out.
Hey, and if everybody had pitted, then you're good. But I'm looking at it, and I think we got a couple guys that haven't pitted.
That was Connor
Banks,
Paul Olsen.
To those guys that haven't pitted, Brian, they're going to really find themselves in a stellar place right now. Clayton Hoffman.
We got to figure out what happened here, because Clayton Hoffman just got killed.
Yeah, Clayton Hoffman definitely down and out. He has a repairs required flag pasted all over his car. That's his new sponsor for tonight.
Some reason we just lost visuals of what's going on. I'm not sure exactly why we just lost visuals of Clayton there. Let's switch to Kendall LeBron. Maybe he'll be more solid. That's who's in front of him. Except, yeah, Clayton had a technical issue.
Oh, he blinked
right there.
And well, that's so unfortunate because that's one of the things that the league is talking about.
He came back in. So this is no one's fault. This is just Clayton having a technical issue. He blinks and then gets turned into the outside wall. So that's just unfortunate right there.
No, that's fortunate. And the reason why I said that's fortunate is because that could have turned out so much worse for so many drivers, but at least his glitch only took out his car.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could have. I don't know. It might have damaged some other guys, but at least they didn't get meatballs. Man.
Well, you know,
this has been quite a dramatic race. And I think that's caution number 3 if we're counting that other one, right?
Yeah, and we really don't have. I mean, it really did. It really didn't affect the pit strategy. I mean, it
gave Connor Banks and Paul Olson, I think, a lot of straight. Well, no, not really, because they're still having to come to pit road. Abner Acosta's going to cycle to the lead.
Yeah, because they'll get a drive around is what they'll get. Because everybody has to pit at this point, so everybody that's a lap down will get a drive around, a wave around. Sorry. Wachinski's getting one of his laps back.
Yeah, getting one of his back. I think Matthew Cisna as well getting a lap back. I didn't even know Cisna went a lap down. I think maybe Cisna because Cisna came to pit road with everyone. I'm wondering if maybe he just had a slow stop. Could have had a speeding penalty. That's very easy to get at this track. I got a unsafe pit entry, something like that. Very easy to do at this kind of track, especially when we saw that pit stop with that group of cars. I mean, that was like, what, 20 cars all pitting at one time. Got to say that was impressive, but it was bound to see someone have a penalty because of that.
I think Cisna actually came back in. There might have been a little bit of miscommunication about how much fuel his team was actually taking. So he might have came back to make up for that deficit.
He's going back to the back. He's not getting his lap back. He's staying a lap down.
Into the lead line. And also, Connor Banks got himself a black flag, so we'll be interested to see how that's going to affect his performance here tonight as well.
Yeah.
Connor had actually been running a pretty solid race. Brian been up front for most of the evening even. I mean, he'd been up front for a considerable portion of stage 1.
Abner Acosta, though, out front. Of course, Abner, one of the drivers that we expect a very strong showing from next week at the Charlotte Roval. One thing I'll tell you we haven't talked about, Big Al, did you know that they have revamped the Charlotte Roval for NASCAR? It's a different layout. I think that they've made somewhat of a passing zone, and a lot of times when we see a new layout for tracks, we see it on iRacing show up as well. I'm wondering if they're going to release the updated version here before week 5. That would be cool. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the old version. I'm just saying NASCAR is using a different version. iRacing needs to also do the same thing, Usually they do. They're pretty good about keeping up with the different scans, So I would assume we're probably going to get that scan. Maybe in the next update. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, exciting news. Big things happening all around the league, man. This season is slowly drawing to an end, but I'm telling you, I've already got my eyes set on next season as well. Especially when
I've also heard rumblings of G&G's suing the ISCA.
Oh, awesome.
I'm just playing. I'm just joking around. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a little joke. Please don't sue me. Pace car lights are out, getting ready to go green here at Talladega on the ISCA. Lawsuits pending for Brian Britt. Abner Acosta out front. And it has been an interesting race to say the least. I'll tell you what, I have no idea who's going to win this thing. But Big Al, one driver I got circled the 50, the corn man. He's sitting in 6th right now. This is a good spot for him.
You just jinxed him.
I'm always jinxing people, man. This is my job. I'm supposed to talk about the stories, Big Al. That's what I'm here for.
It's gonna be melted ice and popped corn.
If I didn't talk about the drivers out on the track, I'd just be sitting here being quiet, and that wouldn't be a very good commentator. But here we go, pace car down pit road. Time to get this thing underway. As Abner Acosta is in control right now. Patrick Gitter up on the high side, entering the Geico restart zone. And the green flag is back out here at Dega.
Yeah, Abner got a great start there. Gitter was almost on it, but as soon as he kind of like breathed just a little bit, Abner put the hammer down, and now he is trying to get out. But unfortunately for him, no support as Gitter is going to go on by with the support from the high side.
Well, Abner has got Kendall LeVron now, and it looks like LeVron's gotten to the back bumper of the 55. But, yeah, the top side is definitely surging right now as you see Patrick Gitter and Derek Heitman just rocketing away. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of an effort from the Paradigm drivers. I think there's been an effort, but should I say we haven't seen an effort for those guys to get together. Like we see, I think Josh Coffner.
Because we've seen them do this before. They don't ever want to get together in a group. I think they play better separated so they can actually block whatever run is coming. And that's what ultimately I think that, that's what they've done in the past.
Well, I just feel like the team point, I feel like the MVP team, I say, like the most, the best team playing team, to be able to stay together and work together has been Team Conti. I feel like they've done a fantastic job of just getting together and always finding each other. And I don't feel like Paradigm's done as good a job at doing that.
Big run coming here is Josh Schaffner is going to slowly eke in that tandem that is broken away from the pack. And this always gets exciting, Brian, because when you get such a big run coming up on those guys, what do you do? Is Schaffner going to go low, or is he going to actually just come up and kind of back out? Either way, it's going to be something going on.
He's got his teammate with him, and I think that's going to kind of dictate what he's going to do. I think he's going to stick with Randy. Randy Mullins is, he's his teammate. He's going to want to stick with his Paradigm teammate. But now the bottom lane has started to surge ahead again. We're seeing the bottom lane become competitive again. I saw some bad bumps from Kendall LeVron. LeVron kind of not as square as he should have been with Abner, but it looks like they have kind of figured out their dynamic. And look at the race going on right now for the lead. As there goes Abner surging ahead. Very good push from Kendall LeVron. I think they definitely have figured out how to work together here.
Man, I just want to say shout out to two people. One, happy birthday, Sarah. Let's get that in there. Sarah down under, having herself a happy birthday today. And look at Paul Olsen.
Yeah, Paul up in 7th right now, running really good up in front. Paul, of course, went a lap down. He went a lap down earlier in this race, and now is up in the mix. And he's got Derek Jacobs right behind him. So two drivers that have been a lap down in this race now up here fighting in the top 10.
That is so awesome. Yeah, anytime you get Paul Olsen up here, man, I'm going to give a shout out to Paul.
Old grumpy awesome. Grandpa. You love to see it. Now, a lot of people are like, why y'all keep calling this man Grumpy Grandpa? That's disrespectful. That's his Steam name. When we play video games together, that's his name.
Man, why you tell everybody? You tell everything you know.
I do. Is that like a national secret or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Top Groove starting to get rolling, though. Greg Carr making some big moves up there on top with Kenny Powell in tow. Haven't seen a lot of Jason Maines late in this race here. He's coming forward here now.
Yeah, it was interesting earlier. Maines, like you said, he actually does pretty good on these super speedways, but it looks like he was having a little bit of trouble finding a dancing partner. It's interesting he is tucked right in there amidst those G&G guys, though, isn't it?
Yeah, G&G kind of seemed like they're starting to work with Greg Carr and Alex Carr. But there goes Team Conti once again jumping up to block that lane. They saw that run coming, But here comes Greg Carr. Greg Carr said, okay, you want to block my lane? I'm going to jump down to the middle. But he doesn't have any help. That's the only thing about it, Greg. You need to have a pusher, and hopefully Brian Johnson can help get him up to speed. Oh, a little bit of a bump there. Jason Maines jumps down to the bottom.
And that is, you know. Oh. Because, see, Carr didn't want to work with Maines last time, so I don't know. Was that a square hit, or was that a kind of trying to go around him hit?
I don't know what kind of hit that was. It definitely looked like a dangerous hit, as we're seeing a lot of movement. J.C. Evans almost came down and hit someone, but luckily he did not, as we're seeing kind of a breakaway here.
Well, it's getting ready to get real back together. That middle line is going to start to reorganize. There's a triple down on the bottom. Griesbaum hopefully can close that gap as well. It's good to see Andrew back down there. He's got that forward man. That always makes me smile. Now Kenny Powell going up on the high side. He's going to take teammate J.C. Evans as well as Jason Maines with him. And they're going to be trying to make it work, make it happen here, Brian. We don't have a bottom line. We don't have a lower line right now.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. They are coming with a full head of steam.
Was that Abner just not wanting to follow Matt DeCiani?
I don't know what that was. I think could be. But I'll tell you what, they definitely generated a big run. As Derek Jacobs is with them, Kendall LeBron. 3 wide essentially for the lead. Coming up to 20 to go. Now 20 laps to go here at Talladega. It's been getting exciting. Abner Acosta being pushed by Patrick Gitter. Abner was being pushed by Kendall, but I think Abner switched lanes.
Yeah, he did jump up right there in front of, Gitter, and it was good to see that Gitter kind of, didn't shove him out of the way, but rather kind of embraced him. So,
yeah, definitely interesting.
Very easy to get left out in situations like this, Brian. As you see now, Mark Sanchez, Paul Hill, and Matt DeCiani now trying to make that bottom line relevant once again. Abner doing everything he can. He's going to get a nice little shove from Kendall. Who's that going all the way down to the bottom? That's Derek Heitman.
Yeah, Derek Heitman switching lanes, jumping down to the bottom. Here comes Patrick Gitter. I'll tell you, these guys are switching lanes really well. I got to give them a lot of credit. They're able to do it very smoothly. They're not being indecisive. Ooh. And that's the key. Don't be indecisive. You cannot, if you make decisions at super speedways, you better make it fast. You cannot decide to, I don't know if I want to do that or not.
You better
That's what causes wrecks.
Well, speaking of wrecks, we got a super cell building up here, Brian. I think it could be very well possible that we might see Leroy getting his little upper body workout in here pretty soon.
Yeah, it definitely could be. He hasn't waved that flag in quite a while. We're up to 3 cautions right now. Could we see 4? I think it's definitely a possibility. The more and more we get to the end of this race, the closer and closer we get, the more intense it's going to get. The action continues to happen. Oh, big wiggle there for Paul Hill. Gets really loose off the bumper of Jason Maines. Able to save it, though. This is interesting. There is no bottom lane now. We were talking about there being no bottom lane. There's not a bottom lane anymore. It's the middle and the top group.
Yeah, and that just shows you how much this racing has changed here, man. Because you usually would never see that. In the old gen cars pre to this, everybody was going to be fighting for the lower lane. It was the fastest, but for whatever reason, the next gen car, it sings its own song in its own tone.
Well, top groove is, in real life, the faster lane. I mean, you're able to just build up more speed up there and really get all the horses down onto the pavement. But Patrick Gitter, last week's winner, he's in the lead here, coming up to 16 laps to go. He won last week at Kansas. And he said the game plan this week is get Matt DeCiani a victory. Some wiggling going on. Jason Maines still trying to push Paul Hill. Do want to mention, though, that Jason Maines is driving in a Chevy. Paul Hill's in a Ford, I do believe. That can have an impact. I mean, of course, we see it in real life to where the shape of these noses are different. And they can maybe not push and bump each other as good as they would probably like. Because, I mean, the Chevys are kind of a little bit more of a rounded nose. And I think the Ford has a little bit more of a flat front nose, which is, I think, better for pushing in a lot of ways.
Watching that bottom line is just starting to try to do its thing. 16 laps to go in the show as we are entering this, what would be the next to last race here in the round of 12. A lot of drivers finding themselves out of the playoffs. Greg Wachitsky lost his playoff chances here this evening.
Yeah, some people are trying to play spoiler here. Some people just want to win. I mean, they want to. It's such a huge deal to win in this series. I mean, we see it week in and week out that there's not as many winners as there is drivers, of course. I mean, this is a very much a coveted win. You want to go to victory lane in the ISCA. It's such a huge accomplishment. Because this is where a lot of the times the best of the best are in the ISCA. You're not going to luck into a win here. And this is the best chance you have to get a win, I think, in this series. And, you know, to tell someone, hey, I got a win in the ISCA, oh, that's a big deal. That's a high competition league. You won in that series? That's a big deal.
Yeah, indeed it is.
See G&G working together in the 9, and J.C. Evans getting pushed by Kenny Powell. We see Paul Hill on the bottom working with Jason Maines. And, of course, Patrick Gitter and Derek Heitman in the middle working with Matt DeCiani as well. Mark Sanchez has worked his way, I do believe, back up into the fray here. I'm not sure if he's on the lead lap, though.
Nope, Sanchez still being shown a lap down. Matter of fact, Mark is being shown one lap down at 21st, I believe.
And he's racing with Matthew Cisna, trying to make sure that he stays as the lucky dog. So if a caution comes out and he's not involved in it, he will get that wave around. And I think that's what he's looking for. Because Mark is not necessarily secure. He's not secure when it comes to moving on to the round of 8. So I think that 29 is definitely looking to get back into contention here.
Well, my ATVO, that's all I'm going to say about it. Maybe Mark is on the lead lap.
I'm showing him a lap down, just like you are.
All right, cool.
But he looks like he's got the speed to be up here in contention.
Don't forget, he was up here at the end of stage 2.
Was he?
Or was that stage 1?
Well, no, I'm saying he was up. He wasn't in contention for the whip. He was definitely at the front of the field, maybe not in position, but he was there. He was definitely there.
You know, Mark's getting a lot of honorable mentions here tonight, Mark. It's just because we love you.
Oh, man. Look at this. Big runs kind of starting to generate on that top side and the bottom line. Big block. Matt DeCiani jumps up in front of, I do believe, Randy Mullins. Patrick Gitter jumps up in front of DeCiani.
It's go time, Brian.
Oh, it's definitely go time. We're coming up closer and closer to the last 10 laps of this race. Next time by, 10 to go.
Guys have got to start putting themselves in positions to make something happen, you know. And right now, it's all about gaining that dominant position. You cannot pass below the yellow line, as we saw Mr. Maine just drop down there. But that could have been just the coolest car. Maybe he got a hold of some dirty air.
Yeah, I don't think he meant to go down there. I think he was just cooling the engine, possibly. Paul Hill, though, surging ahead. And you see the King Conti guys move to the middle groove. They're trying to, I think, help their teammate Derek Heitman. Now 10 laps to go at Talladega. And we're still 3 wide. We've been 3 wide for the majority of this race.
Man, Gitter jumps up, leaves DeCiani home alone. That's going to stack the middle up and give. I mean, look, you can't really be mad, but Dane Gitter left him high and dry. Like DeCiani probably didn't see that coming, but definitely he'll be looking for it next time.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the runs is coming now from DeCiani. DeCiani's got the help of Derek Heitman, and they are linked back up again. So, I don't know. I would assume that they're communicating. They're talking to each other. I bet Patrick Gitter was like, I'm going to the top. And Matt's like, okay. I don't know, though. I mean, you could be right. They could have been a little bit of a miscommunication there. And Patrick just tried to jump up in front of that top lane. I think the key is for the Team Conti guys, they just want to control the lanes. They want to. They feel like if they can control the lanes and they can control this race.
Absolutely. And yeah, you hit the nail spot on the head. I guarantee you that's exactly what took place.
Look at them right back in control again. As I think they're now going to probably try to pop down in front of Paul Hill. Problems, big problem.
Big problems there is we got Jose Medina. That car is talking to itself.
Yeah. That's a rough one right there. Looks like Paul Olsen's involved. Broken toe link, back toe link there.
Greg Carr, Paul Olsen, Jose Medina, J.C. Evans are all recipients of the dreaded meatball flag. That was a big one.
Oh, and you see Randy. I think it's got to do with Randy. Oh, wow.
Synchronized flipping there, folks.
Oh, wow.
Who's that in the fence? That's Paul Olsen. Yeah, that's awesome right there.
I hate that for them, but that was really cool. I mean, Jose Medina just did a flip. That was cool. That was insane. He just did like a barrel roll or something. I mean, he just did a kickflip. Our producer just said do a kickflip, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, just look at this. Wow. If he was in VR, I guarantee you he's not feeling good. Wow. What a crash. I think it was just something that had to do with Randy Drumhiller and possibly Paul Olsen. I think that's what kind of kicked that off. And unfortunately, we have a caution late in this race.
No, we don't just have. That was not just a caution. That was my caution.
What a wreck. I'll tell you, that's gonna be on the highlight reel for the ISCA at the end of the season. Somebody needs to go check on Jose Medina. Somebody needs to check on the fans on the front stretch. I think that there might be some debris in the crowd. Mark Sanchez getting a lap back, so that worked out good for him. He's going to be back in contention here. And he needs to get some points out of this day. And I do believe that brings us to caution number 4. I do believe that's where Big Al's at, caution 4.
Whoop, whoop. Big old pack of warm meat products headed to Big Al's house, unrefrigerated, might I add.
Well, it just depends. So we still have time for another one.
No, I'm calling it.
Are you just going to end the race right now? Like, it's over, guys. Pack it up. Patrick Gitter wins.
We're not doing that other stuff anymore. We're not counting anymore after this. We got the 4, and that's good.
Okay. Okay. Well, we could just debate whether that other caution before was actually, if that counted.
Nope. Not debating anymore either.
Oh, okay. Patrick Gitter out front. If you just joined us, we just had a caution that involves some cars flying through the air. This is not good. Do we see some more cars fly through the air? We're going to be in shootout territory. Not exactly green-white checker, but I do believe we're probably going to have ourselves possibly a 5 or 6 lap shootout. We're getting ready to find out right now. Pace car lights should be going off right now, and I think we're going to have ourselves a 6 lap shootout. And that's exactly right. Everybody's doubling them back up at the moment.
Yep, time to go to work, and this is going to be it right here for all the marbles, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we only get 1 green-white checker. That means it'll be 5 to go once we come to the line. So, and at Talladega, guys, once you get down to this point in the competition, it's just no telling what's going to happen. I mean, we have the probability of literally tearing up every car in this field. That's just the way it is at Talladega.
And even though we've only had 4 cautions, I mean, we've already torn up a lot of cars.
We had cars doing synchronized flipping.
Right now, at the moment, we have 19 cars still in the lead lap. We started this race with 29.
That's actually pretty good for Talladega, though.
Well, I mean, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the race, though. This is the ISCA. Very clean league. I mean, this is probably the cleanest league you're going to find. I don't even think I'm exaggerating. I mean, a lot of times, a commentator might be fluffing up a league by saying, oh man, this is the best league, it's the cleanest league. But I mean it for this one. I definitely do. I feel like this is the cleanest league that you will find. I mean, there is some of the top competition and disrespectful driving.
You gonna stick with Josh Schaffner for the win? Kobe, who are you gonna switch to since Greg's no longer with us? You're gonna go with DeCiani. Brian, are you sticking with Schaffner, I'm assuming?
Man, that's tough. I'm going with Jason Maines.
I knew you were gonna do that. I knew you were gonna pick Jason Maines.
I just feel like he's got a lot of courage. Here we go. Green flag is out as we have a 5-lap shootout here at Talladega. Patrick Gitter up top being pushed by Paul Hill. Derek Heitman being pushed by DeCiani. Very good start for DeCiani and Heitman. Already they were together and pushing. In the middle, though, goes Derek Jacobs.
Yeah.
And here comes Brian Johnson.
I'm going to go with Heitman for the win.
Man, you're a little late. We did that before the green came out. That's not fair.
I had to think about it, man. I'm an analyst.
You took your time, that's for sure.
I don't care.
Oh, wow. They almost wrecked just now. As we saw, Randy Mullins just came down in front of Abner Acosta. That was very close. They almost was not clear.
Definitely. I mean, these guys are stacking it up. You got to do whatever you can. There's going to be guys switching. They're going to be going top. They're going to be going bottom. Everybody's just trying to gain an advantage right now. But as that top looks like 4 cars are starting to break away, bottom line now re-engaging, and here they come on a run with no middle line at all. Oh, Abner Acosta is going to try to make one. He's got Mr. Greasebomb bringing up the rear with him along with Derek Jacobs.
Oh! Greg Wachinski just got turned onto the apron, and he's still rolling, no caution. But that was weird.
A self spin?
I don't think that was a self spin. You don't see a lot of those here at Talladega.
Man, Abner's determined to make that middle work. He has got to try to get to the front, not wanting to take any chances about whether or not he's going to still be racing. He wants to put a W on there. Middle line shabby at best. Top line disintegrated. Everything right now seems to be between the top 3 cars in the middle and that bottom line, which is well defined, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, you see Jason Maines really giving some really good pushes to Paul Hill. That middle group, though, with DeCiani, Heitman, and Patrick Gitter. I mean, these guys, the Conti guys have stayed together all race long, and that's something that I thought might not happen. I mean, we've seen teams not make it to the end of the races at Talladega, but these guys have stayed strong all race long. And if they can continue to do this to the white flag lap, then I'm going to be very, very impressed. And we know last week they talked about it. Hey, we're gonna try to push DeCiani to get this win. Here we go. That third lane's forming.
2 laps to go. All bets are off. Now it is a race. It is the chase. Everybody's got to do everything. Alliances are being formed. Partnerships are being broken.
White flag is getting ready to come out. Do we make it there? Do we finish this race under green with 4 cautions on the night?
You're going to make the white flag, and that is going to be...
The runs are being generated, though. You can see the big bumping going on here. Bottom line, trying to make something happen. But I think the top line has it right now.
White flag is out. That means the next flag ends it, no matter what its color. Highline definitely generated going. Matt DeCiani is running on the high side.
Here they're getting wiggly.
4 wide, wiggly, very wiggly, going through the middle. Abner Costa pretty much out of it. Highline really now literally uncontested.
Andrew Griesbaum pushing Alexander Carr. Big run there on the bottom. Alexander Carr getting wiggly.
I think it's not going to be enough.
But it looks like, I don't think it's going to be enough. Matt DeCiani, he's going to lock himself into the playoffs, into the next round, as he wins at Talladega. Team Conti, victory lane, a 1-2-3 finish. And what a showing for the Team Conti drivers. They absolutely controlled this race, I think, from start to finish in a lot of ways. I think they really had just a stranglehold on the top 5. Matt DeCiani, your victor here tonight. Able to lock himself. He's punched a ticket. We know for a fact that DeCiani is going on to the round of 8. He's already a strong road course racer. Now he gets to go compete at the Roval, and he can do it stress-free. He's going to come down here below the apron. He's going to do a burnout by the start-finish line. This is going to be a big Team Conti celebration. I mean, a 1-2-3 finish. You know that shop has got to be super happy about this result. Now, I got to say, this is a good burnout right here. I mean, I don't know if they upped the smoke in iRacing.
I think they heard you complaining.
They must have heard me complaining about it. Had to be. They had to have heard me complaining about it. Well, let's go ahead and run down through the running order here tonight, the unofficial results here for the ISCA. Matt DeCiani, your winner, and moves on to the round of 8. Patrick Gitter finishes 2nd place. Derek Heitman comes home in 3rd. Brian Johnson finishes in 4th. Kenny Powell with an impressive top 5. Alexander Carr in 6th. Andrew Griesbaum finishes 7th. Paul Hill in 8th. Jason Maines in 9th. Kendall LeBron rounds out the top 10.
Yep, and that's going to put Abner Costin in 11th. Jeffrey Souza comes home in 12th. Randy Mullins in 13th. Eric Jacobs finds himself home in the 14th. The Iceman Josh Joplin finds himself in 15th. Randy Drumhiller, 16th. Paul Whitley II, 17th. 18 shows Mark Sanchez, 19 Jay Hull, and Matthew Sisner rounds out the top 20.
21st is going to be Connor Banks. 22nd, J.C. Evans. 23rd, Paul Olson. 24th, Greg Carr. 25th, Jose Medina. Medina gave us an impressive show flipping through the air, 10 out of 10. 26th, Greg Wachinski. 27th, Clayton Hoffman. 28th is Nick King, and 29th, Brandon Pasalacqua. With that, we're going to take a brief step away. We'll come back. We'll talk to our top 3 finishers.
It's more than a slogan. Whether you're on the track or making your own track, General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA as we've just concluded the race at Talladega. What an event it was. I'll tell you what, it was a big event for the Team Conti gang, as, of course, Derek Heitman is going to be the first one we're going to talk to. He finished in 3rd place. Derek, do you read me?
I got you.
Derek, what a great result for you guys. I mean, I'll tell you, a lot of times with Talladega, it's like, can the team survive? Can you guys all make it to the end? Was that something that was on your mind here tonight? Do we all finish this race?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was always, trying to always play the game of survival and make sure that you keep your nose out of trouble and live to see the end of the race.
Well, definitely a fantastic showing, though, for you, for sure. I mean, I know you're, not really in the playoffs. What was the strategy? Was it to keep Matt out front?
I mean, the strategy was to keep anyone out front that was one of my teammates. So it really, it was really just to see, how the positioning lined up at the end there, and
to just make sure that we all got a 1-2-3 finish.
Well, you did exactly that, a 1-2-3 finish for sure. I mean, what was the preparation for Talladega? I mean, what went into that?
I think Pat and I got the best preparation possible, and we went out and we won A Open SOF. So as far as that goes, we kind of had.
That you did. I did see that. Yeah.
We kind of knew what we had, so we just kind of knew how to play the game and do everything we could to, again, keep ourselves up front and just make sure that we were able to come away with a win and make sure that everyone stayed in the playoffs.
Well, definitely a great job to you, and I did get to catch that SOF victory. I think it was a 5,600 strength of field. I know that the first race of the A Open, and definitely a fantastic performance to both of you, and you guys all seemed to work together almost as if you had one mind in a way, and it was something that was impressive to see. Of course, next week is the Charlotte Roval. How do you feel about that track?
I hate that place. You might not see me next week, and I'm probably not going to do a lot of preparation to try to be good at it either. So we'll just end up seeing, how much time I decide to put in and whether or not I'm competitive.
All right. Well, hopefully we do see you, Derek. If not, either way, great finish for you tonight. Who can we shout out?
Shout out Team Connie for the great sets. My teammates, Matt, Pat, and Paul, and Connor for running up front with us there at the very beginning. Shout out you guys for, giving us a good broadcast every single week, and shout out Kenny for putting on the league.
All right. Thanks for your time, Derek. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Derek Heitman, driver of the 76 machine. He finished his third here tonight. Next up, we got Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21, last week's winner at Kansas, going to be talking to Big Al.
Patrick Gitter, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you, Big Al.
Hey, congratulations again, man, making it look easy. It was a dogfight down there tonight, but somehow you managed to stay up front most of the evening, man. Are your nerves shot?
Man, it sure wasn't as easy. I don't know if it looked easy on the broadcast or what, but it was not. It's never easy here. I mean, it was tough, man. I was sweating. I mean, the runs in these cars are huge. You've got to constantly be watching for big runs coming either bottom or top or middle. You got to constantly be watching to make sure you're square on the car in front of you, and the car that's behind you is squared up on you to make sure you don't get turned. There's always a lot going on, so it's a relief to be done, but certainly exciting, while you're in there.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those tracks where it's like Black Friday shopping, where everybody shows up, no matter what their skill set, and everybody thinks they can win, right?
Yeah, that's what's fun about super speedways. I mean, it's everybody says it's the equalizer, so you never know when some of it is skill and some of it is luck. I mean, you never know when the big one's going to happen. Guys are going to get taken out. Opportunities open up for some newer guys or guys that it kind of equals the field, so you just never know.
So team strategy puts you guys pitting slightly ahead of the field there. And I'm not sure if that caution comes out. It's a totally different look. It's a totally different finish. So what were you guys thinking there? How far ahead did you come up with your strategy, and what were your thoughts after the caution?
I don't know. I mean, we were hoping that if we pit early, we might have a shot at getting out front of whatever cars were going to be pitting after us, just because it seems like, depending on how many cars you have, you can pit early. Sometimes you have an advantage, but I mean, sometimes you don't have the advantage. If you got a big pack that pits early and things get out of sorts and it's not a smooth pit stop, sometimes it works against you. So, I mean, some of that was strategy, but I mean, some of it's a little bit of luck too, just making sure everybody's got it locked down into the pits.
You guys come out of the pits, and obviously at some point in the week there was a conversation about who you guys were going to push to the win. That's what teamwork is, right? And now that we're getting ready to head to Charlotte next week, where we get to turn left and right, a lot of pressure off of you. but are you still going to show up and try to win this thing? You showing up, helping teammates? What level of support can we expect from Mr. Gitter this week?
I always like showing up, and I feel like our guys work really well together, and I think it'll just be kind of a fun race for me next week. Honestly, I mean, Roval, it's Charlotte's my home track. I'm in Charlotte, so whether we're at the Charlotte Oval or Charlotte Road, it's a fun track, and I'm not the best road racer, so it'll just be fun to get in there and turn some laps and see what kind of speed we can bring.
Yeah, it's always easy to race when there's no pressure, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It's with these playoffs, as competitive as it is, you certainly have a little bit of breathing room if you're lucky enough to grab a win and really kind of focus in on whatever that first race is or the next round of the playoffs is. So just fortunate to have that and to kind of look ahead there.
Well, congratulations again for your second place finish. You started on P2 and you finished this thing P2. You're geared to go. Like I always say, don't party too hard. But who we shouting out here for you before we let you go?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys in the booth for calling the race and Kenny for running the league. Shout out to Matt on the win and Derek for P3. Again, fantastic teamwork tonight. Shout out to Team Conti Performance for the great sets this week, Martin PC, and Seminario Designs.
All right, boss. You have a good one, man. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine. Next up, we're going to be talking to our winner, Matt DeCiani. You won stage number 1, and of course, you're able to secure the victory here as well. I mean, what a day for you. You punched a ticket to the round of 8, and you, of course, I think you would have probably pointed your way in, or maybe even won next week at the Roval. What does this do for you? Do you think this just makes you a little bit less stressed when you try to race the Roval next week?
Well, yeah, I won't be here next week, unfortunately. So, I can't defend. I haven't lost at the Roval in this league, so unfortunately I can't defend it. But yeah, it's awesome to get the win. I think I might have advanced on points regardless if I won with the stage points I got and other guys having trouble tonight. So it was nice to get the win just to be a for sure lock. And yeah, I mean, fantastic teamwork all day. I think the three of us and Paul had close to 100 laps of this race. We did what we wanted to do, just control the race for the most part, and we had such a good car this week. Anytime we'd get shuffled out, and everyone, there was a lot of people that shuffled us out, we could come right back up to the field, which I think that was huge. And it's when you got a car that good, you can just get back to the front and keep controlling and just monitoring runs, doing what you needed to do to stay up front. And I think we executed about as perfectly as we could tonight.
Yeah, no, I think you guys were just flawless in the way that you were able to switch between the lanes. And you also knew when lanes were getting runs and could perfectly time it to kind of jump and stall that lane out. And it wasn't as dangerous as other people might have done. Whenever other people would have done it, it would have been a lot more dangerous, I'd say. So is that something that you guys like have to practice for? Because, I mean, it just seemed like you guys had it so well executed.
I mean, I don't know how you really practice it, because you don't get those runs unless you're in like actual races, right? And so I mean, yeah, from officials, and I mean, we've all gotten junked making bad blocks, so we kind of just learned from those in the past. And you know, it's just communication from everyone. You know, last car in line is basically calling out stuff if what lane's got momentum, and then you know, it's kind of just when do we move. And you know, sometimes we can't do it. I mean, there's been a couple times we got guys shuffled out because we couldn't get up there fast enough, and it just happened so fast, and luckily we were able to hang on to it.
Well, definitely a great run for you. Unfortunately, it's sad to say you're not going to be at the Roval next week. I mean, that's kind of, you know, one thing we expect you to be strong at the road courses. Unfortunately, that's going to give someone else a chance to maybe come out here and maybe lock themselves into the round of 8. But how's the rest of the playoff picture looking for you? Are you confident? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think the round of 8 is some fantastic tracks for us as a team in general. I mean, Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville, just good Vegas maybe, more of a cookie cutter track, but we've been pretty strong at the mile and a half. Homestead's definitely a driver's track, and Martinsville is definitely a driver's track as well. So I think we got a good shot. We'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to have so many guys close on points. You can't make mistakes next round, maximize points, but I think we'll have a good shot.
All right, well, you definitely won the race here tonight at Talladega. This is the best place to, I think, be lucky, but I think you also showed skill. Who can we shout out after such a display of skill here tonight?
Yeah, thanks to all my teammates, Pat, Derek, Paul. Well, we did a great job tonight. Thanks to Team Conti for the amazing set. Martin PC, you guys for calling the race. Kenny for putting on the league.
All right, well, we definitely appreciate your time, Matt, and we'll see you next in a couple weeks.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All righty, that was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine, able to lock down the victory here tonight and lock himself into the round of 8. Big Al, any final thoughts here tonight? As of course you were I do believe had the right amount of cautions guessed. So great job.
Yeah, sometimes I just, what can I say? I'm just great at this stuff now. But for real though, we're headed to Charlotte. It's getting ready to get serious for a lot of drivers. We're going to go from 12 to 8. So we're hoping that some of these guys that are, whose necks are on the chopping block can get those laps in that they need. Like you said, new configuration. We're excited about that. Yeah, I'm just ready. Let's go turn left and right.
Yeah, I hope that we do get to see that new configuration here at the Charlotte Roval. I know iRacing a lot of times does keep up very well with the NASCAR season, and they are going to be having a little bit of a different configuration, so I'm really hoping we'll see that. But what a race we saw here at Talladega. This was an exciting one from start to finish, that's for sure. I tell you, I love how they've made this next-gen run at these super speedways on the sim. I don't know if they run that way in real life, but I'll tell you what, it's fun in the sim. But we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, make sure you tune in next week. We're going to be concluding the round of 12 and moving on to the round of 8 next week at the Charlotte Roval. Broadcast starts at 9:15. Of course, the race itself goes green a little after 9:30. And you're not going to want to miss that one. That one's going to be an exciting one. That the Charlotte Roval, we'll see some lefts, we'll see some rights. I can't wait. You don't want to miss it. We'll be here. This has been the ISCA. We'll see you next time.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade, and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part. And really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving, and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues, because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes. And